Dennis Franz asked, nobody wanted to see it.
Well, yeah, it's nothing that's going to.
I personally don't think we aired it in Birmingham. I don't want to get too far into it because I may be wrong, but I think that night ABC did not air that. Because
I think it came down to it, but I think they did. But I could be wrong. But it was one or the other. It did come down to the 11th hour.
Yeah. And I can't remember. It seems like it was on James Spann's station. And Spann,
It was an ABC show.
Yeah. I just can't remember if Spann was
Anyway,
at
it just
Fox
seems like things are loosening up a lot, so it's pretty amazing to believe that drivers internationally are getting fined for cussing.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
So, Costco. I've never had a membership. I've heard it is well worth everything it's all hyped up to be. You guys ever go to Costco?
We are not members of Costco.
My wife does it. We're members. What?
But funny, my entrepreneur friend who makes money no matter what he does is a member at Costco and goes there a lot.
There you go. My wife gets like paper goods there, like the paper towels and the tissue, the big packs of it.
Yeah.
Now, one Costco customer recently decided to test the limits of the company's return policy.
Oh, my.
Reddit user eStack shared a photo of what might be the oldest product ever attempted to be returned at the big box store. Quote, I just watched someone return a TV. It was purchased in 2002, reads the post. I thought it was a prank when I saw it. As a person that doesn't really take advantage of Costco's impressive return policy, would a person receive a full refund? Now, as seen in the photo, the TV set is a blast from the past when electronic companies had yet to perfect the sleek screens that we know today. eStack told the Daily Mail in April that the return was spotted at a Costco in Pennsylvania. The user wasn't sure if the refund was issued, but they overheard the customer service suggest the chunky TV was bought in 2002. Now, the model looks like a Samsung HCL 552W rear projection, which was available in the U.S. in 2002. This was the one right before one that I still got in Jack's. Well, I don't have it anymore. I took it out of Jack's room. But it was my first HD TV. It was Samsung. It was like that.
Yeah. I had a
little bit
rear
of a
projection one, too, as well.
A buddy of mine had a TV about like that was HD. And I remember the Super Bowl. Wasn't it the one in New Orleans that you went to?
Yeah.
That was the first Super Bowl in HD. And we watched it at his
Super Bowl
house on the
36.
TV. Yeah,
Just thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah. I remember him saying, hey, when y'all are coming over Sunday, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, I think the game's going to be in high definition. I was like, holy crap, really?
Yeah. It's like, really, we could reach out like we're there.
I know. You don't even need tickets anymore.
Some of these Reddit posts, one added, quote, I'm more shocked that they still have a receipt after 22 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Several Redditors suggested that if the product was purchased before 2007, the customer likely would have been owed a refund. That was the year Costco tightened its return policy on electronics, accepting returns only within 90 days of the date of purchase.
I would say the cost of that television right there is going to blow your mind. I would put that between $4,500 and $5,500.
Okay, so the TV I got I remember this because it was, at that time in 2003, was a $4,000 TV.
Yep.
That was something similar to that?
Yeah.
So if you're an executive member, it looks like you can pick up this sweet TV for $120.
I mean, that's a deal.
I think you can pick up like one of the Walmart brand 4K ones for probably maybe $30
Yeah,
more.
but does it weigh 8,000 pounds like that one? It does not, Tyler. So.
True.
Tyler, I think that's a sign back on the wall.
Oh,
I thought that was the area where the TV was being held. I'm with okay.
Is it on the wall? I can't tell.
It is on the wall, but
I think it's just a sign on the wall.
I thought Tyler was right. I thought that section was $120.
No, I think you can become an executive member for $120.
Well, I hope my wife has done that.
Yeah.
I would like for us to be executives.
What else do we have in the cart? A mattress?
Yeah, what is that?
Looks to be
looks like some bed sheets.
Bed sheets.
Yes. When you got a TV like
Hang
that,
out with the next round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the next round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, Vegas is apparently really good at basketball betting lines early in the year. I'm not really good at gambling. Kentucky's got real men playing basketball. We'll get to basketball in a second coming up.
Both those games are tight.
Yeah, wow. And all of a sudden, Kentucky with no NBA prospects for the most part. No lottery picks. They look like a real basketball team. We'll talk about that coming up. when we get to basketball in just a second. LTD&B, all the guys behind the glass, Melton and Forrester. Tyler's there, punching the buttons. Taylor Corn's got everything social media at Next Round Live. As you join us throughout the day on YouTube, whether it's live with us now on replay, never too early to put a thumbs up in there. We appreciate you guys so much. College football playoffs last night. The committee releases episode 2 of this docudrama every year. I bet if we went back through the history since 2014, I bet the second poll was always the one that was bitched about the most.
Yeah, boy, and people are bitching and complaining about this thing. Look, if the season ended today, we would have some serious controversy, but guess what? It doesn't. We got basically a full month of football to play, and a lot of this stuff is going to take care of itself. I mean, Georgia not being in this playoff would never happen. Yeah. They would manipulate this and make sure, based on the fact that a lot of people thought Georgia was jobbed last year with the one loss to Alabama, not getting in the college football playoff. With 2 losses in that schedule, number 1 strength of schedule right now, they would find a way for Georgia to get in. They're not worried because it's week 2 of these.
And it'll clean itself up because Georgia's about to play Tennessee. And if they beat Tennessee, they're back in. If they don't beat Tennessee, they don't belong in. So that one's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy cleanup right there.
But what we need to get to in this discussion, and whether it's sustainable or not, is this committee's love. I used a different word in our job description. I mean, our show description in the back that didn't make it in there. But
no, it did. Absolutely. It's in the YouTube description.
Yeah.
Unless Tyler took it out. Tyler had it in the YouTube description.
We're going to say it.
I think the committee went a little hot, too, on the Big Ten last night.
It's still there. I thought it was going to be in the title, but it's just
no, it's not the title.
It looks like that because
slobbering. 4 of the top 5.
The only one I've got a problem with in that top 5 is Penn State. Because I just don't think what has Penn State done? Like, who have they beaten?
I mean, I know your answer. What you're going to answer to what I say. What has Indiana done? And you're going to say they've destroyed everybody they played, but they have.
Yep. And they're undefeated.
But they have played absolutely nobody. Nobody.
But I still would say this.
Not that Penn State has, by the way.
I don't know who's got the worst schedule in the SEC. I don't know by strength of schedule. Is it still Missouri?
The little T's working on those numbers for us. She's going to have a graphic for us later.
Let's just say hypothetically it was Missouri. And Missouri's undefeated at this point. Okay, they would have beaten Alabama, but that would be the one loss.
It makes it a hard argument.
But they would still be in the top 5. I think just based on the fact that – and I don't even think the committee looks at what Indiana's doing right now. I think they'll really start to dissect –
next week.
Yeah, I mean, when they get a little deeper in this, I think it's easy right now that Indiana's 10-0. They're in the Big Ten. You can put them on the top 5. Again, all this is going to take care of itself. And I know you said yesterday Penn State's not going to lose a game. I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. I think at Minnesota is extremely dangerous for Penn State.
Okay, dangerous, but even if they win that game, we're going to say who'd they just beat? I mean, the only way that jumps on our radar.
They may lose it.
No, I'm saying they may lose it.
That's what I'm saying. The only way that jumps on our radar is if Minnesota beats them. If Penn State beats them, it's just another middling Big Ten team they beat.
I think a couple of things to look at. I think if Penn State loses that game, I think Penn State is out. Like, I don't think they get in.
It's a hard argument for them, Lance, because they've lost to the best team they played, and they've lost to Minnesota, and they don't have wins.
But what do I always say? There will be a certain number of Big Ten teams and a certain number of SEC teams in, and then the fight is for those extras. And I just don't think there's a lot of. I think the Big Ten may be the most predictable teams that are going to be in the playoffs. They've got 4.
Give you a scenario, though. Tennessee has one of the worst losses in the SEC against Arkansas. Arkansas is still 5-4. They're not a bad team, but still, that loss doesn't look good.
What if I told you Arkansas ends up with a better record than Vandy?
It's possible.
I mean, it's possible. Now, I know Vandy's got a difficult close. Is Arkansas's not that difficult?
Well, 5-4, and this week they play Texas.
That's difficult.
That's really difficult.
Yeah, but Vandy plays. They've got LSU coming up and Tennessee.
I don't think Vandy wins again.
Who else do they have? They got. I know they got LSU, Tennessee, and they got one more.
I think that's it.
Okay, so So speaking of Tennessee, if Tennessee, and I believe they will, get curb stomped by Georgia this week.
Especially if Nico's out, which is something. Those are some of the reports.
He dressed in practice yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
He's in concussion protocol.
Right.
But my concussion protocol has me in a dark room with the blinds closed and no noise. His was dressed and at practice.
And I know that's going to be the excuse if he doesn't play and they get completely stomped. They're going to be like, well, we were without our starting quarterback. But do you guys believe if Tennessee loses this game by 14 plus, with 2 losses to end the season, they're out? I think they could be.
I think they could be, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they lose by 14 plus at Georgia, I mean, somebody's going to have to get left out, and they've given you a reason to leave them out.
Yeah, but we just talked about, and we'll do this several times throughout the show, we'll talk about this committee's second week thing here. But you got teams that are going to have a nice number in the loss column, relatively speaking, 0, 1, 2. But you're going to have them beating nobody. We were just talking about that
Indiana.
with Penn State, maybe Indiana. Tennessee did beat Alabama,
They
and
did.
Alabama, if they do their business, is going to be a 10-2 football team, and Tennessee beat them.
They did.
I mean, at some
But
point,
that's their only
we got to
win.
go college basketball. At some point, we got to go college basketball. Who did you beat,
And we've also got to go, who did you lose to?
and who did you lose to?
And I think Tennessee's loss to Arkansas kind of negates the win against Alabama.
That would be a bad loss.
Yep.
But they
And I'm saying it would be another bad loss if they were to get blown out in Athens. That's my whole point. Look, and I still think Tennessee's definitely going to lose this week, and I think they could lose to Vanderbilt.
we hate it all year long when we talk about quad 1 wins, quad 2 wins, quad 1 losses, all that in basketball. But basketball does it right. I mean, they do it right. They factor in the schedule strength. They factor in they do it right.
They do, Jim, but basketball also gets the benefit, and this is football's fault. Basketball also gets the benefit of a ton of crossover conference games. Like Duke and Kentucky are two top teams traditionally. They play last night. Kentucky might be a mid-tier SEC team and just beat Duke, who might be a top-tier ACC team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll know that in March.
That's right.
And I'll be able to look back on that and say, okay, those two teams played. Michigan State played Kansas last night. I'll get to look at that. Alabama plays Illinois this week. Auburn's about to play Iowa State.
But to LT's point is, Penn State has the opportunity when they schedule football games
That is correct.
to go out and schedule a great out-of-conference game or two. And if they choose not to do that, at some point, you got to pay the piper.
And that's why I said college football is to blame for this, because they too often choose to do what Penn State did. I 100% agree with you. But the other thing college basketball also has is a much larger data set. I mean, they've got 30 some odd games.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You have got a much bigger sample size.
It's going to work its way out in 30 games.
And you don't have as much controversy on the backside because you got 68 teams as opposed to the 12.
And
I'm just talking about the way they
Yeah.
judge this season. They factor in who you play. And you're right. When you've got 30 data points instead of 12,
It's a lot easier.
And the power conferences, the schedules are closer. They end up being closer than I think in college football. But at some point, I remember like it was yesterday, Alabama basketball played a sucky schedule and had a great record, got left out of the NCAA tournament. And I think next year, I think they were 17 and 15 and made it into the NCAA tournament because they played a better schedule. You got to reward people for playing these games.
I don't disagree.
And you got to reward. I know Danny Cannell will hate me saying this, but the SEC is a tougher conference than any other conference. And then there's the Big Ten, and you just can't dance through the Big 12 and lose a game, if not for a controversial call, and move up 3 spots, which is what happened to BYU. It's insanity.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how coaches do schedule moving forward based on what the 12-team playoff looks like this year. And my point is going to be there's 3 teams. If they would have gone back and said, I'm not going to schedule this week 1 game out of conference, Mike Elko and Notre Dame, they would have 1 loss. Brian Kelly and LSU with USC, they would have 2 losses. And then one more example was Clemson and Georgia. They would have 1 loss. All those teams would still be very much in the mix of getting to a college football playoff without that out-of-conference really difficult game.
Can I make a counterpoint to your point, though? If at the start of this season, I'm going to use a team that's on the it doesn't matter the team I use. I'll use Penn State, since that was your discussion. If at the start of the season, we looked at Penn State's schedule, well, that's going to be tough because USC is a conference game. I was going to say out of conference, they had scheduled Florida State and USC. They're at Florida State and they host USC. You would have said, holy crap, they scheduled a schedule.
Alabama's road game at Wisconsin, not as tough as when it was designed.
That's right. And
you can't penalize for
I'm
that.
not saying you penalize it, but I am saying, to your point, that is one reason college football is to blame. We do these absurdly way out in the future scheduling, and it limits the cross-sectional games we get that are good games. Basketball does that much better. They don't put their schedule together until
that's right.
Spring before the season, and then they know Gonzaga's going to be good again. Kentucky may be down a little bit.
Right.
That.
After March Madness, they're filling up
That's
that
right.
schedule with teams that they know are going to be good, and the mid majors that Auburn will play Kent State tonight. That's a team picked to be third in the MAC. They haven't had a losing record this century. That's a pretty good mid major game, right? You can manipulate your numbers that way with the schedule. You're exactly right. Who is Penn State's best out-of-conference game this year? I can't. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
I
don't know why my voice all of a sudden sounds like
why
Rich
Penn-
Davis.
Penn State's best out-of-conference looked like at West Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a rival. It was a fun game.
It was.
a fun game.
I don't think they scheduled that thinking West Virginia was going to be an 11-win team, but that's a traditional rivalry game. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, I've got no problem with
But
that.
they played Bowling Green, Kent State. That was their other two. I mean, when you're scheduling Bowling Green and Kent State, you're scheduling wins.
Okay, so in hindsight, when Penn State scheduled West Virginia with the rivalry and the history, and Alabama scheduled Wisconsin, I'm sure everyone thought Wisconsin would be in a better situation than they're in. But in hindsight, you look at both of those, they're about the same teams. They're about the same game. So Alabama at Wisconsin and now Penn State at West Virginia, they equal out about the same to me on my feel level, right?
But again, I think we do have to use some common sense, and we do have to realize that there is a better conference than the other conferences, to your point, with the SEC. Like, I saw a blind resume this morning that I was reading about, and it's like Team A, Team B, and they're both 8-1. And they're like, Team A's resume, it obviously is much better than Team B's, and it was SMU to Texas. Yeah, that's great. Look, SMU's had a really good season.
Congrats, guys.
But
I don't
Texas
know if it was
would
Danny
whip
Cannell.
their ass. I mean,
Danny Cannell did that for me too. SMU has a better resume than Texas, and it's not even debatable. But they're ranked 11 spots lower, 11, because of big brand bias at its finest.
Danny's
Danny
not
Cannell.
wrong.
He's not.
I mean, SMU, you respect BYU. I want to get to them in a minute. I can't believe
yeah,
they jumped in.
but like, I mean, you got to go off what you see. It's not like we can just have the as y'all call it, the IROC uniform.
No. I'm saying eye test. I believe Texas is a better team.
Yeah.
Resume-wise, and this is what the argument always comes down to. Do we go by eye test or we go by resume? If we just go by resume, we don't need, how many people is it, 12?
13.
13 people in a room. If you go by resume, you just enter data, and like they used to do in the BCS days, the computer spits out the poll. But if you want to go eye test, that's when you bring people in, and people can look at, say, okay, here's SMU's resume, here's Texas' resume, guys. SMU's is better. I've watched every game Texas has played. This is a better football team.
Right.
We're going to rank them higher. They're better than SMU. If they were on the same field right now, they're not going to talk Vegas lines in there because that's taboo in that room. If they're on the same field right now, just go neutral site. Texas is playing SMU. The point spread is?
Neutral site 16, 17. Here's the thing. SMU, again, I love the
wouldn't
story.
even watch it.
Their best win is against Louisville, and I don't think Louisville's ranked, are they?
I don't think so. I don't think.
I mean,
no. Louisville's in the playoff poll. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is
Louisville
their best.
is 19th.
19th. Yeah.
That is their best win. Pittsburgh's obviously out now. So, yeah, Louisville's their best win. Nice win, but.
Yeah. And they played a tough out-of-conference game against BYU. But there again, when Texas scheduled, it's not Texas' fault that Michigan didn't go recruit quarterbacks for 3 years, right? I mean, Texas is being held to blame because Lance has said it, and Lance is pro-Texas in this discussion. He said it many times. Texas' best win is Vanderbilt. It came up on the show last night. Reese asked whichever panelist it was, who's Texas' best win, and they all said Vanderbilt. That's Michigan's fault. That's not Texas'
and
fault.
Oklahoma's fault.
And Oklahoma's fault.
And Florida's fault.
Yeah,
I mean, some traditional powers
Yeah.
that just aren't worth the shit this year.
What is Texas supposed to do? They schedule that Michigan game. Again, silly that we schedule it years in advance. But, hey, by the way.
Would have been coming off a national championship.
Last year when you saw, hey, next year Texas and Michigan are opening against one another, that looked like a heck of or week 2, that looked like a heck of a football game.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue this conversation for the next
And by the way, you don't know Jim Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy are going to leave.
That's
when
right.
You
How do you
schedule
know
that.
this? Yeah.
A couple of great sponsors, and we'll jump into BYU moving up. The correction, sometime overcorrection by committee, week 1, week 2, how it works moving forward. Our only guest today right now, Roman Harper, 11 Central. Roman today and an 11 Central. We'll see what Roman's up to in his life. Show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them, our friends at the Floribama and Comedy Club, because those two have united forces like the Wonder Twin Powers. And they went Floribama and Comedy Club, and they went Wonder Twin Powers activate good time in Birmingham. And they come out with Big Earl.
Yeah, look, this is going to be exciting. He came last year, and this is going to be one of the last shows, at least for Big Earl and the Sexual Biscuits, They're going to be shutting it down at the floor of Bama. So you've only got like a handful of times to actually see this really unique act. You guys are going to absolutely love it this Thursday. If you don't have plans, tickets are available. 205-444-0008 for decades. Big Girl in the band. The Sexual Biscuits been playing at the floor of Bama. They brought a unique sound and commentary to the world-famous Honky Tonk right there on the beach now. They are headed to the Stardome this Thursday for one night only. I know I freaked Brown out yesterday when I was like, we've got something Thursday night. It was me having a dinner. But if you guys need tickets, let me know. 205-444-0008. That's 205-444-0008 or stardome.com. And make sure you tell Dean and the fine folks there the next round sent you.
All right. I want tickets. It should be fun. Always good to see Big Earl. And our buddy Greg from Pell City is always fun to see as well. He will jump on your rooftop for a free, no-cost roof evaluation. You may say, Jim, the summer storms are done. Why do I need a roof evaluation? Well, you just answered your own damn question right there, because the summer storms are done. You don't know what damage they did up there. You need to get Greg from Pell City up there and let him see if you have any loose shingles or maybe some water entry points around some fittings up there. He does that free no-cost roof inspection. He'll get up there on that roof and give you that free inspection. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. He works so well with insurance companies. It helps you out so much. And then he does storm damage, roof replacements, insurance roofing claims, restoration, inspections. He can do it all. Free quotes, free evaluations. It's all right there with Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned, family owned for over 20 years. To talk to Andrea or him, call 205-542-3531, 542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Just explain to me, man, why 1 week you don't respect the Big 12, and now you watch BYU get a lucky flag late that every, analyst, former official who's now an analyst have gone back and watched the entire tape and said it was a
complete gift.
Gift of a call that allowed BYU to go down and kick a field goal. They move up 3 spots, and further down in the rankings, I always tell you, watch the bottom. They send Kansas State and Colorado each up 3 spots last week. Colorado I have no problem with. What Kansas State do to jump 3 spots last week? It's just building the resume at the top. BYU up to 6 after what happened last week. That's BS.
It is. And look, and you guys know I've been, saying this is a really good BYU team. And I think for the first 6 weeks of the season it was. And then that Friday night they hosted Oklahoma State. They were lucky to get out of Provo alive with that game. And since then, they've just been off. And you're right, they should have lost. I thought Utah looked like the better team. BYU is getting a little worse each and every week, and there is no way they deserve to be undefeated. And I always say this stuff will take care of itself.
One will.
Here's your problem, though. If Kansas doesn't get them this week, I don't think they get in the regular season.
They won't, but they'll lose the conference championship game and will not be in the playoffs.
You say that,
No, they won't be in the top 12.
I mean, no, but I'm saying they won't be in the top 12. But if they get a one shot at Colorado, I mean, I don't feel great about Colorado beating BYU.
But then BYU's in.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And then Colorado's not.
Colarado's not.
There's going to be one Big 12
there's only
team
one Big
regardless.
12. They're a placeholder is what they are. And I just thought it was silly.
So you truly believe that if BYU does not lose until they get to the Big 12 championship game, and if Colorado somehow beats them,
they're out,
that BYU will drop out of the 12. You believe
100%.
that from what you saw with the committee last night?
100%.
Okay, I'll trust you.
But
but I promise you on December 5th, I'm coming for you.
No, but here's the problem, though. Again, where they've got BYU positioned, if they get past Kansas this week, they're going to keep going up. And how high do they get before they lose that Big 12 championship game? If they're in the top 4 or 5 and they lose that game, they're not going to fall all the way out of the 12.
Oh, I think they're at their ceiling. Like now, here's the thing. Indiana's going to lose and fall below them, but they can always manipulate that.
Oh, they may not fall. I mean, we've seen it in the past.
I know.
If Indiana loses at
a
Ohio
tight
State,
game, they may not fall below them.
They shouldn't fall if
at
they
that
lose
point,
a
I have
one-possession game.
Yeah, if they play them tight.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
I have no problem keeping Indiana at 5.
I just thought it was silly that Joey Galloway last night was like, they disrespected BYU. This is the adjustment they deserved. I'm like, I would have actually respected the committee more if they had come out and said, I think BYU verified what we thought about them.
Yeah.
They won on a controversial call. They, in all likelihood should have lost that game on the road to Utah. I know it's a rivalry game. I know it's a tough game. But that's why we have BYU ranked where they were. Our eyes told us this is exactly where they belong, even though they're undefeated.
I thought I was being generous putting them at 12.
I thought they might fall out.
Yeah.
You said you thought they'd be treated like they lost a game.
Yeah, half a game. They lost half a game.
Yeah, I thought they would be 12-2 or right around 12.
I mean,
you could have easily done. I mean, Boise State dropped. I know it was Nevada and it was only a one-possession win, but how you go up 3 spots doesn't make any sense. And I guess what you're doing is you're trying to take care of the undefeateds.
Well, that's a safe. I don't know if they view it this way, but it's safe to drop Boise State because as long as you have them as the highest ranked, they're in either
I mean,
way.
the only one
doesn't doesn't impact them at all.
That's right. Yeah.
The only undefeated that is outside of the top 6 is Army.
Yeah. Well, there's no respect for them, but they're going to have to beat Notre Dame to get
But
any
if they
respect.
beat Notre Dame, boy, that thing will jump.
Oh, they're in and Notre Dame's out
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
But if you look to your point, Brown, and it bothers me that we only care about the wins and the losses. But if you look at the wins and the losses, which would be the way, I mean, if you let a 6th grader do the college football rankings, no offense to 6th graders, but you would just look at the win-loss column and you'd be like, all right, 0 losses, that team's good. 1 loss, 1 loss, 1 loss, 0 losses, 0 losses, 1, 1, 1. There's no 2s over anybody that's got 1 loss until you get to Boise State and SMU, not brand names. All the 2 losses are behind the 1s and the 0s, except until you get to Boise State and SMU, and that's down at 13 and 14. And that basically, SMU's now in the ACC, but on street cred, they still have that group of 5 smell to them.
Okay, here's what I would ask you guys though. If we still had the old BCS, okay?
Oh, well, we got it.
Okay.
Oh, we've got.
I was just going to. Okay,
Yeah.
so but I think that's where these teams would be. I think Boise and SMU would be about 13 and 14th, and I don't think you'd better be saying anything because it's not a 12-team playoff.
Jim, before you say anything, this is always tracked with the committee, basically.
Yeah. And it's not far off.
Yeah.
Even after week 2. Oregon is number 1 across the board. BCS on the left, College Football Playoff Committee on the right as you watch us. Ohio State's 2 in the BCS, and in the committee, Texas is 3 in both. Penn State is 4 in both. Indiana is 5 in both.
That's remarkable.
Tennessee is 6 in the BCS. BYU is 7th in the BCS. The committee has them 6 and 7, not very far off there. Notre Dame's both in the 8. Alabama comes sliding in. That's why we love the BCS here. Love you, BCS. Love you. Number 9. It's
beautiful.
It's a beautiful BCS thing. We love the BCS. Georgia is 10. Ole Miss is 11. Miami is 12.
It gets out of whack after Bama.
Miami, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia. They just turned that upside down over on the college.
My point was SMU and Boise State. And nobody has a problem with this with the BCS because it was 2 teams. Now that it's 12, people want a lot of these non-powers to fill in kind of the back end because we've had so much parity this year.
But to your point, SMU 13 in the BCS, and they're 14 in the college football playoff. Boise 14 in the BCS, 13 in the college football playoff.
Here's where I'm going to contradict myself as Scott shows this. I've always said if we just kept the BCS, we'd be fine because it factors in the human element with the voting polls and it factors in the computers.
Would be 100% better.
However, if the BCS spit out Georgia 10, Ole Miss 11, how much would we lose our minds? Like I literally just watched one team beat the other one by 18 points.
You did.
Literally just watched it, Jim. 18 points. It wasn't a field goal at the
But look
horn.
where Texas and Georgia are.
But it wasn't a. I know, but see, that's at least 2 loss, 1 loss.
Yeah,
I can live
true.
with that.
That's true.
But Georgia's the team that beat Texas. Don't you have to factor that in a little bit?
Yeah, but it's still 2 loss, 1 loss. We are 2 loss Texas, 2 loss Ole Miss, and I literally, with my own 2 eyeballs, watched one team win that game by 18 points. Now, if you tell me it was a field goal at the horn in Oxford, I'm like, all right, maybe I believe it. But they walked Georgia off the field.
One more thing here in this opening segment. After your own 2 eyes look at your bathroom and your kitchen and tell me they did an A-plus job with our friends at A-plus. Tell us about them.
Well, thankfully, it was Jennifer Brown's eyes that jumped on the old internet and scoured it, looking for the right person to do the master bath in our house. She talked to many contractors, people that had used contractors. She read up on reviews. She selected Brad Bell, A-plus Tile Home Remodeling. And, buddy, I'm glad she did. Brad did tremendous work. He came out day 1. He got our vision. Scott showed you some before and afters. And our bathroom was brighter. We kind of wanted a darker bathroom. He didn't say, no, that's not the way you want to go. He's like, okay, I'll make that happen for you. Boy, did he. His crews were on time. They were efficient. At the end of every work day, the foreman came out and said, I want to show you guys all the work we did today and make sure it meets your standards. I mean, that's top-notch service right there, man. Brad can help you. Master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's what he specializes in. Not the only thing he does, but what he specializes in. 205-422-1758. That's 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A-plus Tile Home Remodeling.
Okay, more college football playoff week 2 rankings in our next segment. And we'll get to your comments in the mybookie.ag chat room. Basketball last night, Cooper Flagg, as you watch that game, he's amazing. 26 points, 12 rebounds, but Duke couldn't hit a three. And down the stretch, Cooper Flagg made a couple of freshman mistakes, tried to do too much.
Yeah, the 2 turnovers within a minute, his first turnovers of the night, while it was a one-possession game in each of those. Hey, Mark Pope got his signature win, right?
He did, and
it's huge for him. I know you kind of said that tongue-in-cheek, but, I mean,
no.
if you're Mark Pope today.
No, I think the good news is you only had, look, and these guys are, it's like a lot of these teams early in November, you're kind of breaking in the rotations and everything, but to only have 3 cats in double figures and to have 9 guys play double-digit minutes, that shows you he's got some depth and he's got a lot of balance.
That's it, LT. I watched that team, and that team looks more dangerous to me, Kentucky, than the last 2 Calipari Kentucky teams, because that looks more like they're some portal guys. They're street smart. They're savvy. They've just been around a while. They're veterans, and they look more like a team than the stars that Calipari threw together the last couple of years. And none of those guys may ever go to be a lottery pick at Kentucky, but they look like a more dangerous basketball team than the last 2 Calipari teams.
But I will guarantee you, to Lance's point, that the Matt Joneses of the world that are doing shows in Kentucky today, when they get on their show, they're going to say a lot like we did with Kalen DeBoer. It's nice to beat Wisconsin, and it's nice to beat Western Kentucky, and it's nice to come, have that fourth quarter against South Florida. But you're not judged until you play a team like Georgia. And then Kalen DeBoer played Georgia, and everybody's like, okay, all right, I like that. That's the same thing with Pope. Whoever they've beaten, at Kentucky, until you beat a team like Duke or North Carolina or somebody like that, Kentucky fans aren't going to believe in you.
Right. You beat the brand.
You beat the brand. Yeah. And that was my biggest takeaway from the game. I know Flagg looks nice, Kentucky looks nice, but Mark Pope, I'm sure Kentucky fans today are like, okay, I believe in this guy now.
Man, with the
now, that'll
Cooper
change fast.
Flagg, though, I will say this: at 6'9", with his ability to really, he can move like a point guard. The vision, his ability to shoot it, he seems like he's around the rim a lot. This guy is going to be a major, major problem come March.
Yeah.
Major problem.
Morgan says Kentucky shut Flagg down when the game was on the line. Kentucky will compete in the SEC year 1 under Pope. 3-6 Troy says Mark Pope is Rick Pitino-style clone. UK definitely dangerous.
See, it's happening here.
Yeah,
Everybody's already changing their opinion on Pope.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, the team is. I watched them last night. It was the first Kentucky basketball game I'd watched. They looked like a more dangerous team because all the parts seemed to fit together.
It wasn't a collection of players. It was a team. That's what you're saying.
That's right.
They're playing like a basketball team, not a bunch of guys auditioning for an NBA job.
Now, on the flip side, Duke was 4 of 22 from the 3.
That could be good defense, right?
It could be. And a little bit of that was. In the other game last night, Kansas beat Michigan State 77-69. Bill Self passed Fog Allen as the winningest coach in Kansas basketball history. Fog Allen, by the way, so good they put the name on the arena there.
It's just hard to believe that Bill Self has been in Lawrence for 22 years now. Like, I remember, watching him in the tournament when he was Illinois' head coach. And that doesn't seem 22 years ago, but it's been a great run for Bill Self. I don't know how good this Kansas team is because I think, and I don't know if this is a problem, we saw Purdue really run the offense through Zach Edey, who was just a monster. Hunter Dickinson's really, really good, and there's a reason that he transferred from Michigan in 23, got $1 million+, probably got more to come back, 13 to 21, 28, and 12. I just don't know if he is the type of big you can run an entire offense through and win a championship.
And even if he is, the last, and this is kind of hard to say, but the last team that won a championship operating through a big man is?
Yeah,
I don't even know what the answer is.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Look, they came close last year with Edey.
They did, but when it got time to play for the actual championship, that style did not work for them.
Yeah, look, and again, Dickinson's really, really good. And I think Kansas will round out. Look, they only shot 41% and 5 of 17 behind the arc.
Yeah. Weird to see Rylan Griffin.
Yeah, that was odd, wasn't it? Yeah,
in
in a Kansas uniform.
And I thought he was okay. Played 32 minutes, had 10 and 6, but
About what he was when he was at Alabama.
Yeah.
And occasionally he'll go off, and then some nights he will not.
It's been weird watching Aiden Holloway in an Alabama uniform. I have not watched South Carolina, but when you see Nick Pringle in that South Carolina uniform, it's going to look weird.
And go watch Michigan. You see a couple of former Alabama players and a former Auburn player.
I did see some Michigan highlights and saw
Trey Donaldson.
No. The kid that shot so well for Alabama, Sam
Howell.
Sam
Walters.
Sam Walters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, that looks odd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an odd look.
Really does. All right, basketball tonight. Kent State is at Auburn. Auburn 5 in the AP, number 1 in the KenPom, ahead of Houston, Gonzaga, UConn, and Duke, even after lost Duke at number 5 in the KenPom. In the top 10, Tennessee is 9, Alabama is 10. Only in the top 20 other SEC teams with Auburn 1, Tennessee 9, Alabama 10, A&M 18, Kentucky 20 now in the KenPom. Kent State and Auburn tonight, 7 o'clock down at Neville. This is a Kent State team picked to finish 3rd in the MAC. Pretty good challenge tonight. Keep an eye on our player to watch, Chaney Johnson, tonight, coming off an 11-10 against Houston. He leads Auburn in rebounds. He may be the glue. My fourth hand illustration of the opening segment. He may be the glue.
You did not do the hike to it.
The glue that holds Auburn together throughout this basketball season. Big fan of Chaney Johnson. That's at 7 o'clock tonight down at Neville. When we come back to college football we go. We got more MAC action tonight. You can play those games at mybookie.ag. Before Brown tells you about MyBookie, Lance's Lock brought to you by Hemphill. I'm sure you had another big night last night. Got an opportunity tonight at lanceslock.com.
Yeah, only dabbled with one MAC game. We did have Toledo. Easy winner for you. More MAC action up tonight at lanceslock.com. Again, $100 can get you absolutely everything for the entire month. Jump on board now. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right, take a look at some of the point spreads in college football and the NFL coming up this weekend. On the report, I'll just ask real quick, Lance. Georgia only moved a little bit on the reports that Nico might be out in this game. It's 10 right now. It was like 9.5.
Yeah, I think it would probably move to like 11.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be the height you think?
Yeah, I think so. Just based on the fact that, look, Tennessee's success has really been all about their defense. Now, how much does it change with the backup right now for Tennessee? Who is Tennessee's backup?
It is. He came in and played a play against Alabama and threw an interception.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. Auburn, a 24-point favorite still over Louisiana Monroe. Tonight, you got some college football. Akron at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, 15-point favorite. Ohio, 11-point favorite at home over Eastern Michigan. And Miami, Ohio, a 30.5-point favorite at home over Kent State. And then the NFL back Thursday night with the Commanders at the Eagles. Eagles a 3.5-point home favorite there. All those games I just mentioned, you can play at mybookie.ag. Code next round, when you sign on at mybookie.ag, you're going to make your initial deposit. They are going to double that deposit when you use code next round. That is mybookie.ag, code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag, code next round. That is mybookie.ag, code next round.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Thanksgiving is here, and let the New York Butcher Shop be the place to get all of your holiday meal items. Their premium turkeys are fresh, free-range, and hormone-free. The New York Butcher Shop also has a wide selection of chef-prepared side items to help save you time in the kitchen. Pick up a bottle of wine, and your meal will be complete. Turkeys are selling fast, so place your order today. 2 locations to serve you, in Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Back with you on the next round. We'll do our sneaky good game coming up in the next segment, the first of the 10 o'clock hour. 4 downs coming up later on next hour as well. Tonight, though, you guys have plans. Where will you be tonight?
We will be in Crestline Village at Odie's Tavern. We do it every Wednesday night. Odie's Team Trivia. Come join us. We start about 8 o'clock. Me and Brown Will Haver get there early, enjoy some great food from Rodney Davis, the award-winning wings. Fantastic burgers, delicious sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Very entertaining, always fun. Odie's Team Trivia tonight. Don't forget about the sister restaurant right there in Edgewood. It's Odie's Tavern.
Okay, a couple of things. We touched on it earlier. Nico Iamaleava.
There you go.
Nico Iamaleava. It's been a while since I've had to say it. Nico at Tennessee, the quarterback. Concussion protocol. Last week, left, didn't play in the second half. Didn't even come back to the sidelines the second half against Mississippi State. They say he's in concussion protocol, but everybody at practice yesterday, dressed and practicing, everybody saying he's going to play this weekend.
I will say this. The initial report that I saw that said he was out, OUT out, not just concussion protocol, maybe is out for the game, was the Bear Chris Felica, who is now Fox. Yeah. So not SEC partner Fox, but that's not to discount his information. I'm just saying don't think he's ESPN anymore is all I was pointing out there.
Yeah, Felica said he's out last night on video. Right. Will not play in the game according to his sources. But meanwhile, Shannon Terry and others really quickly quote tweeting saying he's playing.
A lot of people around that cover the SEC on a day-to-day or cover Tennessee on a day-to-day discounted that report. So you can pick the report you believe. I'm probably going to go with the guys that are there on the day-to-day more. Yeah. But that's not to say Felica's 100% wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why Felica would roll with that. I mean, that's kind of a bold statement to say that early in the week unless you've got some really good sourcing behind it.
That's a relatively large report, too. I mean, that's the biggest game in the nation.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean he doesn't play. But again,
are you really?
I am, yeah.
We'll get our first injury report tonight around 7 Central, whenever it pops for Tennessee. We'll see if he's listed as out. Or doubtful.
Would almost
questionable or probable.
Yeah, I would almost 100% say he's not listed as out.
Yeah.
Now,
why would you?
Yeah, I don't know
But
why
if
you
you
wouldn't
list
at
him
this
as out
point.
on Wednesday, can you come back and put him in on Friday? I think you can.
I need to find the rule on that. I don't know when the deadline for going from out to one of the other designations is.
Yep.
But I would think probably questionable or probable would be my guess. I
Yeah,
mean, I
and-
think he'll be on the availability report because he went out of the game.
Gaston Moore would be that backup
Yep.
quarterback, a senior from Hilton Head.
Oh, I love Hilton Head. I didn't know that's where he was from. One pass against Alabama was an interception. That's the only thing I've seen him do.
And then there's the Ohio State controversy from yesterday, them griping about the 6 straight noon kicks. It had to be pointed out by a lot of people who have access to the Big Ten television contract with Fox, NBC, and CBS. Ohio State and Michigan, specifically in writing, wrote down that we will have no night games the last 3 weeks of the season on anybody's platform, Fox, NBC, CBS. That is home and away.
Yeah, well, and that's because
They have to agree, both the home team and Ohio State or Michigan as the visitors both have to agree for that game to be at night, for Ohio State or Michigan to have a night game. And they did it last year. Ohio State did for a Michigan State game, and Gene Smith said, I don't think we'll do it again last 3 weeks.
Well,
so they're griping about these noon kicks, but Ohio State and Michigan had it put in their contract, we don't play night games.
Well, look, in November, and I think you brought this up yesterday, it's weather-related when it comes to the Big Ten. You don't see a lot of night games in the month of November. But tell me if Alabama fans, all their home tickets, it was all 11 o'clock games, how pissed would they be?
Super pissed.
It would be, unless that's your tradition, and
Which is what I thought.
Yeah, the tradition has always been your biggest game of the year is 11 o'clock. Ohio State, Michigan, every year for my entire life, ever.
That's not true. I remember in 2005 there was a 2:30.
Okay, 2:30, still daily. It wasn't a night.
Yeah, but still, I think even throwing them a bone at 2:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand how the TV contracts work, but if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm pissed off about it.
They were griping they have no night games.
That's right.
In Columbus.
Yeah.
In Columbus.
2:30, 3:30 Eastern, it turns night
Yeah,
pretty
this
quickly.
time of year it gets dark. I get what they're saying. But here's my counterpoint to their point, Jim. If Ohio State, now let's use Penn State. I'm just going to go. Who did they project Penn State hosting last night? I don't have it in front of me.
In the playoffs, Penn
playoffs.
State is Ole Miss.
Ole
Yeah.
Miss.
Always Ole Miss.
By the way, the winner of that would love it because I think they got BYU based on their.
They would. 3-seed BYU.
Penn State, Ole Miss. You think there's a chance that's a night game? And if Ohio State's in that situation, my point is, if you're already writing in, we do not want to play November night games. Guys, if you're in the college football playoff, there's a chance you're hosting a home night game in December, not just November, but December.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's a good idea to build that mindset of, boy, we do not want November night games. Weather sucks. I thought that was the whole thing about playing these games on campus in the first round, is you might have to come play in some of that real Big Ten
Wouldn't
weather.
you think that's more for the fans, though? Because, I mean, Big Ten, I mean, most of these teams, most of the campuses, I mean, it's a little different now with you know, the difference of a lot of West Coast teams coming to the Big Ten now. But I think that's more for fans. I mean, you saw a Kansas City fan lose his fingers last year.
That's right, when it gets to that extreme cold. More on the playoffs that you just saw the bracket there right after we tell you that the show is being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them is our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
Yeah, I want to remind you, just a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from tomorrow, we have Thanksgiving.
Oh, my gosh.
So, look, if you haven't planned the meal yet, that means you probably don't want to do the cooking. Let our man Jim from the New York Butcher Shop do it all for you. Their turkeys, fresh, all-natural, hormone-free from Joyce Farms, one of the best poultry producers in all of America. Turkeys are fresh, but they can't smoke or brine them for you. Also carry smoked hams, certified Angus, beef, prime beef, tenderloins, rib roast. All of their side dishes prepared in-house will feed 8 to 10. However, do make smaller sides that feed 4 to 6. Don't forget about the great desserts like pies, cakes, banana breads. Great wine selection as well. They're taking reservations now. Highly recommended. They will sell out. They sell out every single year. Get into one of those 2 locations. Go see Jim and the great staff. Tell them the next round, Cynthia. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Hey, the day after Thanksgiving, called my friend Leslie and our friends at Way to Wellness and start getting ready for the beach in 2025. That's what I'm going to do. personalized plan that works for you. That's what you get with Way to Wellness. Planforme.com. Planforme.com is the website. That's got medical weight loss supervision and treatment there as well. That includes the injections that are so popular right now and working so well for so many people. They will explain that to you. Maybe that's what you would like in your life. They've got meal replacements as well. Board-certified medical professionals on hand to walk you through the process week after week. Planforme.com. Planforme.com with more details. No contract, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free. It is Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All right, back to the college football playoff rankings. Bad on me. I didn't just give them to you straight up last night. Here's the rankings, and then we'll show you the bracket again. Oregon is 1, Ohio State 2, Texas is up to 3, Penn State is 4, Indiana's 5. Yes, you heard me. 4 of the top 5 are from the Big Ten.
Do you really have a problem with it, though?
I do. I think that's a little excessive, but I also know it's going to work its way out. I'm not going to get wound up about
who do you put in that top 5 from the SEC?
I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, you like to do that. You like to do this, Lance, but give me the rest of the SEC teams against Penn State on a neutral site.
Oh, look,
who's Penn State favored over?
Nobody.
None of them.
Yeah, and look, I don't.
Indiana's even worse.
And I've said it. I don't think Penn State belongs, but based on the fact that they've got one loss, I just don't know other SEC teams that should be in the top 5 outside of Texas right now. I think Alabama might be the best team in college football.
Yes, the Big Ten is the SEC. Those are the two big brands, and I experience this with basketball every year. The Big Ten will show themselves when we get to the bracket. So yeah, I have no problem with 4 in the top 5. That is where we are right now. BYU at 6, huge problem with that. Tennessee is 7, Notre Dame's 8, Miami's 9. Not really comfortable with Miami at 9, but they are there. Alabama's 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia's 12, Boise's 13. That's significant because they're in the playoffs when you do the brackets, which we'll show you here right now. The brackets shape up like this. Alabama on the road at Indiana in the 10-7 game. Everyone loving this around the country. Oh, I'd love to see Alabama go up and play in the cold in front of 52,626.
Walk them out of the stadium.
Well, I think so too.
Bama's a 10.5, 12-point favorite in that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, it depends on how Bama closes the season. It must be good if they're in the college football playoff. So, yeah, I think they'd be 10.
Walk them out.
Yeah. Now, Alabama would only get 3,500 tickets, but
it wouldn't matter.
Let me tell you, 3,500 tickets in a 52,000-seat stadium is a lot different than 3,500 tickets in a 100,000.
I have adopted Indiana. I'm pulling for Indiana, but I would just say this. If Alabama plays like they did Saturday night, they are the best team in college football. But if they play like they did before, Indiana's better than Vanderbilt.
Walk them out of the stadium.
Do you agree with that, though? Indiana's better than Vanderbilt.
Indiana's better than Vanderbilt, but I don't think you would get the same Alabama team in a college foottle playoff game.
I don't think so either. Look, I don't think so either. You know what I feel about Kate on the board.
I do.
I'm not. October Vandy. Excuse me. October Vandy.
It would have been a good game.
Where they were versus Indiana. I wouldn't give you that Indiana's going to beat Vandy for sure.
The day Alabama played Vandy, if that had been Indiana and Nashville, that's a fantastic football game.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a good football game, no doubt.
The same way when Vandy played Texas. I think it's a fantastic football game.
Yeah, but they would walk Indiana. Okay, next.
Winner would get Texas. Ole Miss, Penn State. They're in Happy Valley.
Fascinating game. I mean, weather, obviously, as we just discussed, would be a massive issue in this game potentially. I mean, this was, Penn State, remind me, they had to upgrade their stadium, their pipes just to host these games, right? Am I correct about that? Are they discussed it or something like that?
They've discussed putting some outside walls on their stadium so their pipes don't freeze for playoff games.
So this would be an extremely cold weather environment in Happy Valley. But the Ole Miss team I saw Saturday, I don't know. Penn State's offense is so bad because James Franklin's their head coach. I don't know how they would move it on that
I don't either. I thought, if you would have told me Tyler Warren was going to be this good at tight end with Allen and Singleton in the backfield and Aller with a guy that really didn't turn the football over at all last year, I'd have been like, damn, this is going to be a dynamic offense. But I just don't know if they can move the ball at all on Ole Miss.
Yeah. Notre Dame, Tennessee, and Knoxville. Boise State, Ohio State, and Columbus. So to me, you advance Bama out to play Texas, Ole Miss out to play BYU, Tennessee out to play Oregon, and Ohio State out to play Miami.
We're going to get 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams in the semifinals, aren't we?
Yeah, I bet we will.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen, by the way.
Then it'd be an all-SEC showdown to get to the semi, so you'd have one. Ole Miss and BYU. I'd take Ole Miss. So you'd have an all-SEC semifinal on that side. Tennessee, Oregon would be fun.
Would be.
And then Ohio State and Miami. So you'd be guaranteed no SEC there in at least one slot. But likely Oregon, Ohio State on one side, and then the winner of Texas, Alabama against Ole Miss on the other side is the way I would project it out.
I mean, it's going to be extremely fun. I'm so fascinated into who hosts these first-round games. That's where the action is to me. Like, the buys, I mean, I care, I guess. I think, most of them you kind of got an idea of which, really outside of the SEC. Like, it's either Ohio State or Oregon getting the bye in the Big Ten. I'm just not buying that Indiana's going to beat Ohio State. I know it's either going to be Colorado and BYU in all likelihood in the Big 12. I know it's going to be Clemson, SMU, or Miami in the ACC. So I'm far more interested in where we see these first round games. That's to me the biggest storyline moving forward in these rankings.
So you tell me, what's the least number of SEC teams that could be in this?
3.
Least? Yeah, the smallest number.
By the way, I think half of the top 15 will get beat in the regular season moving forward.
Interesting.
Oh,
I think we could. I think Oregon could lose to Wisconsin this week. I know you guys probably laugh when the.
I don't laugh, but I mean it's.
I'll give you Oregon losing at Wisconsin as much as I give you Texas losing to Arkansas. I think it's on the table.
Well, how different do we feel about everything if Indiana did beat Ohio State?
Well, then Indiana's playing for the conference championship and a bye.
You've earned your stripes at that point.
And if they can beat Ohio State, I'm going to assume they could beat Oregon in a neutral site game, right?
And I want to say it. I want to be clear here. Indiana, I have no problem where they are because they're in the Big Ten and they're unbeaten.
And they're undefeated,
I have no problem with
And I don't have a problem where Notre Dame is. Notre Dame went into College Station. They beat Texas A&M. And I think Notre Dame's going to have to earn it at the end. Say what you want about a 5-loss USC team. I get that. But they've got to go to the Coliseum. It's a big rivalry game. USC's still got a lot of talent. And they've still got to play undefeated Army. So Notre Dame wins out. I got absolutely no problem with Marcus Freeman with one loss being it.
I have no problem with Notre Dame. My problem is with BYU that high. It's with Miami where they are right now. And the fact that Georgia, playing the schedule they played, they've lost twice, but Georgia, I mean, they won at Texas. They lost at Alabama. They lost at Ole Miss. They beat Clemson like a drum.
The only thing that doesn't bother me about BYU and SMU and teams like that is they are just placeholders.
You're
just
right.
placeholders.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody is going to have that spot.
Yep.
And it's actually going to be in the top 4. It's not going to be where it currently is.
But I do think that it was interesting that Georgia would be out based on the fact that Boise would be in.
I agree.
How bad would the controversy be if this was the final?
Oh, I know. It'd be crazy. No, you would never take BYU over Georgia. But there again, I think the committee knew we get a mulligan with Georgia. If Georgia turns right around and beats Tennessee, which I think they will, they're right back in it. Then they got to decide what to do with Tennessee, which is when you ask that question, Jim, what's the minimum number? This is what was the most fascinating thing coming out of last night to me. Let's assume Georgia beats Tennessee. Not a huge, crazy assumption there. All right?
Not crazy.
So now at the bottom of those, somewhere between 6 and 12, or really 6 and 11, if you call the group 5 the 12th team, you're going to have Alabama, 2-loss, Tennessee, 2-loss, Ole Miss, 2-loss, and Georgia, 2-loss. And Alabama and Ole Miss will have beaten Georgia. Georgia will have beaten Tennessee. Tennessee will have beaten Alabama. Ole Miss did not play Alabama or Tennessee. Break that tie. I mean, that's hard to do without just putting all 4 in, and now you got 5 SEC teams in.
And then what if Texas A&M doesn't lose again and so
goes to Atlanta?
One more loss to Texas. So now Texas has 2 losses. A&M's only got 2 losses, and they've got wins over Texas.
They're ranked so far down, but that beating Texas, I guess, would jump them up, and I assume it would jump them up.
Okay, play
in the top
along,
12.
though. If Penn State did lose to Minnesota with 2 losses and Indiana got completely walked off the field against Ohio State, is it a chance both of those teams are out?
Good. That's just 2 Big Ten teams. That's hard. That's hard to believe.
I mean, I don't think Indiana would be, but I think Penn State has a good chance of being out if they lose to Minnesota.
I think 2-loss Penn State is very precarious for them with a loss to Minnesota.
I think I always said 4 each from Big Ten and SEC.
You did? Do you still feel that way?
I think eventually it will get to that number. I think it probably will be this year based on the fact that ACC and the Big 12 have done themselves no favors in some of the games they've lost over the last couple of weeks. I think it sets up like that.
And I know we're going to get to it. I think the fascinating story here is the SEC championship game.
Yes.
And how that plays out.
We'll do that coming up at the top of the next hour here in the second, and we'll do our sneaky good game. A little bit more college football here after we tell you about our friends at Milo's. Milo's getting you ready for, I don't know, Brown, what's better than one Milo's burger?
Well, 100 Milo's burgers, a burger bar. I mean, there's very few things better than one Milo's burger.
Best number 24 ever. Ken Griffey Jr.?
Jeff Gordon.
Ken Griffey Jr. How about 24 free Milo's burgers? Milo's giving away a catered meal for up to 24 guests. That's right, 24 of your closest friends, coworkers, or family can be chowing down on Milo's favorites. And the best part, it is absolutely free. For your chance to win, head to miloshamburgers.com/catering-contest. Enter today. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering-contest. So whether you're feeding a few or a whole crew, Milo's has got you covered. Don't wait. Enter now. Maybe they'll be serving you and 23 of your lucky friends soon. Stay saucy.
What was Kobe's number?
He was 24 and 8.
Yeah,
but he went back and forth.
That's right. So it's hard to just pin him down on the 24. Which one do you think of when you close your eyes and see Kobe? Is it an 8 or a 24?
8.
It's an 8 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's a 24 for me.
Yeah,
it's an 8 for me, but you know I see great moments with both.
Yeah.
But Ken Griffey Jr. I think he would have been the best ever if he doesn't have a couple of injuries.
Yeah, could have been. What might have been with him?
What might have been?
You guys would really go Gordon over Ken Griffey Jr.?
I don't know. I just said that, but I mean it's a toss up. Jeff Gordon was pretty dang good.
Oh, he was really good.
Jeff Gordon, Kobe Bryant.
Is there an NFL 24?
Yeah. Barry Bonds.
No, he was.
Did James Sr. get pissed when you pulled for the Rainbow Warrior?
I was not a big Jeff Gordon guy.
Oh, okay.
And it goes back to how I was treated one time in an interview.
That wasn't even Gordon. That was Gordon's handler.
He called you Rick.
It was Gordon's handler. Rick Barry. I'm just running through some 24s. Moses Malone.
Very good.
I like Moses,
but I don't think
you've got Kobe over Moses Malone.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now if Kobe was the sole 24, it would be him. I think I would go Griffey Jr., Gordon, Kobe.
Willie Mays was also 24.
Let's tap the old brakes then there, Tyler.
Willie Mays, 24.
Willie Mays.
Tony Perez was 24.
Say Hey Kid's going to be better than Ken Griffey Jr.
Darrell Rivas, 24.
Rivas Island.
Yeah. Champ Bailey, 24 for you Georgia fans out there. I don't know if he's 24 at Georgia. He was in the pros. That's about it from the 24s. Good question.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
So the discussion on the message boards for UCF has come to a boil about Gus Malzahn.
They're done.
The fan bases that go on message boards seem to want to change. What's their record right now? I mean, I assume
they are 3-6, I think. Or 4-5.
More than 4 losses.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's what you get with Gus Malzahn. Man, they should be better. That can be in the Big 12 a really, really good team. And if I'm looking around and I'm seeing what SMU's doing in the ACC and I'm seeing what BYU's doing in the Big 12, if I'm a Central Florida fan with the third largest undergrad in college football right now with their resources, I just don't get it.
Who do they want? So they're 2-5 in conference, 4-6 overall. To be completely fair to Gus, give them one more win. But the problem is they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last 7 to get to that number. They started 3-0.
Would you take Scott Frost back?
They're at West Virginia and they host Utah. So
these are the 3 names that they were.
I haven't seen if that's one of the names, but
most popular.
Okay.
The first one is Rhett Lashley. And to their credit, their message board even said, we can't get Rhett Lashley.
I'd stay at SMU.
SMU has
Not
so
even
much
close.
money.
10 times out of 10, I stay at SMU. And I like that you're going, we're going to fire Daddy Gus and get Baby Gus.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they just went straight up.
Yeah.
Even on message boards where there is no reality checks.
That's right.
Even they were like, dudes, we cannot get Rhett Lashley.
Yeah.
SMU has so much NIL money, oil money. Scott Frost was the next second most popular name. The third, Alex Golish from USF, their rival down the street on I-4 now. They're not in a power conference.
they're an American,
Yeah, I'll say this. It's a fun style to watch. They played well early. They dipped down.
Quarterback was injured a bit.
Byron Brown.
Byron Brown was hurt.
And they're coming back a little bit. I think Golish is going to get an opportunity. I thought it would be after this year. I mean, I would rather have Golish than Malzahn where they are in their careers.
100%, yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, at one point, Alex Golish was being talked about for the Florida job. I don't know if he would leave USF for UCF.
What is Gus's buyout? I mean, this guy is going to cash in.
I think
on
it's
some
down
buyouts
to
here.
$12 million,
I think
according to the message board.
That's pretty
folks.
good.
You would leave South Florida to go to UCF just based on the fact that UCF is in a Power 12 board.
In the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess has more money behind their program than USF.
Yeah, I wonder about that. But all right.
Auburn paid him 21, by the way.
Yes.
So if he's getting 12 from UCF,
that'd be
that's
$33 million just in buyout money.
just to not be good. That's that's pretty good retirement to not be good.
That's let's say winning the lottery twice.
Yes.
When we come back, our sneaky good games for the week, plus Brown with a crazy scenario that maybe the SEC officials would love in Atlanta. Interesting. That's on the other side right here on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UrologyCentersAlabama.com, 35 urologists, 16 locations treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between. Maybe you're at that life. Maybe you're late 30s, early 40s, and you say, man, I got 2, I got 3, I got 4 kids. I don't want any more. I'm going to have the vasectomy. Where do I go to get a vasectomy? Google, hey Siri, where do I go to get a vasectomy? The answer? UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com or call that number 205-930-0920 to schedule your appointment today. UrologyCentersAlabama.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
These guys were just talking Cowboys in the break. Jay Busby writes at Yahoo that reality is about to set in for Cowboys Nation. That over the next few weeks, you will see something that TV partners never thought they would ever do.
Cowboys flexed out?
They're going to flex the Cowboys out of primetime games.
It's about time. Because just like Sunday afternoon, look, I've got Red Zone so I can watch anything I want. But if I keep getting bad games in the afternoon window, it doesn't matter if I've got Red Zone or not, right? But because we got to show every game the Cowboys play on the Fox late window, we're stuck with Cowboys-Eagles. That was an awful football game.
I think it's a little different if Dak is not shut down for the rest of the year, because the Cowboys at that point could be digestible and they are good enough where they could beat a team here and there. But I think now going from Cooper Rush to Trey Lance, it is going to be an unwatchable brand. And it's going to be fascinating, with Micah Parsons and the comments he had on his head coach on his podcast. What a world we live in, by the way.
It is.
But it's going to be interesting to see what the Cowboys do. And this is starting to build a lot of momentum with this Deion Sanders talk.
And then you got, I want to come back to that real quick, but the absurd controversy of they built their stadium west-facing, so the sun sets through those massive windows, and it cost them a touchdown Sunday.
Yeah, it's been that way since they built the stadium.
Correct. Everybody knows it.
But nobody
does anything about it.
How are you sitting down with an architect? Okay, we got a $3 billion budget.
Supposedly, the story I heard when we were out there one time, because people were telling us about the stadium, it might have been the Cincinnati, I don't know which game it was. Jerry was under the impression that the Arlington area was going to have another skyline, and he wanted the skyline out the window, similar to what you get at Mercedes-Benz, where you can see the Atlanta skyline. And the skyline never came, so now you just get the setting sun.
Probably need to make sure that skyline is coming.
Yeah.
Well,
Michelson Laser Vision, here's what we're doing this segment for you guys and for the guys on the desk here. We'll talk a little NFL here. We'll do our sneaky good game, and then we'll get back to college football here. The SEC scenario that Brown is going to educate us on. Our friend Peter Burns has a thought on that as well. You guys are talking about that in our MyBookie chat room. Michelson Laser Vision, that look ahead of what's coming up in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, look, the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020, the best in the business. Dr. Mark and Dr. Jen Michelson. Do you know a family member? Maybe you need to make those benefit selections at work now. Do you know your FSA or flex spinning can be used to help you see clearly without the hassle of glasses or contacts? Yes, LASIK and Michelson Laser Vision might be a great choice for you. Book your free LASIK consultation today, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. For more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Bleacher Report has 5 bold predictions for the rest of the NFL season from this point forward. One of them involved the Cowboys. With Trey Lance starting, he's only 24. Bleacher Report believes this will lead the next few weeks to Trey Lance getting a major contract extension with either the Cowboys or someone else.
Did Bleacher Report watch the end of the game Sunday?
That's their bold predictions.
Did he look good to you?
No.
Cooper
He
Rush,
looked better than Cooper Rush,
who was playing in front of him, so Cooper must have been better in scrimmages, right?
Yeah, and look, and Cooper's obviously been there a long time, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cooper Rush is, well, he's not going to be cut this year, but.
So are they saying with the Cowboys or just with somebody?
Somebody. That this would turn into the who is Matt Schaub of the Falcons, who came in and got a big contract, I believe, with the Texans.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
I think they're talking about Trey Lance over the next few weeks.
Elsewhere. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, look, Trey Lance, I think his upside when he came out of North Dakota State was the fact that people believed he would be the next
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I mean, just a guy that really could get it done with his legs.
Because it was North Dakota State, they thought he was going to be the
Carson Wentz at that point,
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, a bigger, thicker guy at 6'4", almost 230 pounds, but like consistently throwing the football, you just haven't seen it. And you don't know if it's the inability to maybe process an offense, if the NFL game is just too much. I don't know what it is. I would be blown away, though, if Trey Lance goes out, plays crisply the next month and a half and gets a big deal, but we have seen it before.
Only 24, so he's got time on his side. Couple just real quickly here, no need to react to this. They think already 2 NFL coaches fired. They think 4 more will be fired before the season's even over with. McCarthy being one of those with the Dallas Cowboys, though they usually wait until the offseason. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals win the NFC West over the next few weeks.
How's that a bold prediction?
Are they in the lead right now?
Yeah,
they are.
I thought so.
Just nobody, I think, had the Cardinals winning.
Yeah.
I mean, even right now, I think most people believe they falter.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If you've watched the Cardinals, that is a really good team. You go back to week 1 where they take Buffalo to overtime on the road. You go back when you're Dolphins, you saw them. They played well against the Dolphins, or Tuah played well against Arizona. Arizona still wins that game.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We couldn't stop Marvin Harrison Jr. or their daggum tight end.
Dude, Trey McBride is one of the
good.
best unknown players in all of the NFL right now. And you just look at what they did to the Jets, what they did to the Bears. Not great teams, but complete domination. The Rams, every loss this year has been single digits, one possession, outside of losing by 31 to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals right now, and I know I'm going to get a text from our boy Drew, I think they're the best team in the NFC.
Kansas City 9-0. They say they go 4-4 down the stretch.
Maybe so. We'll see. They play the Bills this week, and that's obviously a very difficult game.
The schedule includes Bills this week, Chargers, not in order, Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Broncos again on the road.
Broncos on the road. That was at home Sunday. And that was, I was going to be so close to getting that prediction right. I'd said 3 weeks ago on this show, the Broncos will be the team that give the Chiefs their first loss. And they're lining up for a relatively short, when I say relatively, I mean relative to a lot of kicks you see in the NFL, a relatively short game winner and get it blocked. How often do you see a blocked field goal in the NFL?
Yeah.
I feel like you might see it 2 times a year.
I mean, 55 plus maybe. From 35, it just doesn't happen. So Bills, they're an underdog there. The Chargers are playing just great football. I'm just trying to – let's say that Will Anderson comes back, Nico Collins comes back. That's a losable game, but it's in Arrowhead at Pittsburgh. I mean, I think they definitely have 3 losses.
Yeah. They're not going undefeated.
But, 14-3 is still ridiculous.
Yeah, and if they ended up going 4-4 down the stretch, they believe that would end up costing them the number 1 overall seed, putting them on the road for the AFC Championship game as they tried to repeat. And their other bold prediction before we bounce away from the NFL is – that Aaron Rodgers quits on the New York Jets.
I mean, it has been a disaster. There's no other way to put it. I mean, year 1 was a disaster because he got injured. Year 2, he got his head coach fired, or I shouldn't pin that on him. His head coach got fired, and they're just not a good team. I mean, this has not worked. This was a move that everybody thought would pay off with some sort of chance at a championship, and it has been an abject failure no matter how you try to cut it up.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Aaron Rodgers is the problem. Like, the defense isn't as good as it was. The offensive line has not been great. But Aaron Rodgers is a guy that could really hide some deficiencies in the past. Didn't play with the most elite receivers all the time in Green Bay. Made everyone around him better. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers now, he is just a shell of the Aaron Rodgers in the past. And you thought even if you got that with how good the Jets defense has been over the last 2 or 3 years, that you'd be in a pretty good spot. But Aaron just hasn't been good.
The Pants Store bringing you part of the show as we jump back to our sneaky good game, brought to you by McCurry. Brown will tell us about McCurry in just a second, but the Pants Store gets you ready for not just the sneaky good games, but the actual good games. Birmingham with great locations, including the original in Leeds. Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn is your game day headquarters. Alabama, Auburn, polos, hats, and quarter zips, perfect for the holiday gift-giving season, including – of course, birthdays, and I don't know if you got a good Alabama and Auburn fan in your life, maybe anniversaries too. Gentile, Antigua, Cutter, Buckhorn, Legend, and so much more. Dresses and fall wear for the ladies, free alterations, free gift wrapping, New Balance, Hoka, Western boots, they've got it all there. Nothing says Roll Tide, War Eagle like the Pants Store. PantsStore.com, anywhere in America, or those 6 great locations: Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Leeds. It's our friends at the Pants Store. Tyler, sneaky good game time. Hit it. It's brought to you by our friends at McCurry. Do it.
The College Football Spotlight.
This weekend's sneaky good game.
If you are looking for that hard-to-find rental, whether it's a truck, an SUV, big passenger van, car, whatever it is, McCurry has it. All over North Alabama, too. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003, 256-559-1003, or McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
Sneaky good game, UCLA, Washington. Neither team has a winning record, but on Friday night, 8 o'clock, Fox. Couple of things here. Bowl eligibility for Washington if they win. One step closer to bowl eligibility for UCLA, which would be amazing for Deshaun Foster where they started. 8 o'clock on main Fox. Also, if you're is it War of Witchcraft? Is that for all the guys who game behind me? Is it War of Witchcraft? Is that a video game?
World of Warcraft?
World of Warcraft. That's it. That was close. I had a lot of W's.
That's not half bad.
Is it War of Witchcraft?
What's the name of it again?
World of Warcraft.
Wizards of Waverly Place?
They're having uniforms as a tribute to that. Here you go. The World of Warcraft night at the stadium there for Washington. There'll be animations and stuff that you're able to see in the stadium.
Hokey. Give me UCLA.
In the game there for the Washington Huskies. From your starting zone to the end zone. They partnered with Warcraft for one-of-a-kind in-stadium experience coming up on Friday night. You'll get some of that on Fox.
UCLA, give me the points.
All right. That's sneaky good for me right there. And the War of Witchcraft? No, what was it?
Wizards?
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Are we going to have the same one?
I don't know.
Nope.
Mine, I did not draw a picture. By the way, our purple's looking brown right there. I'd say it is purple now that I look at it, but when the light hits it, that's a great UCLA, though. I'm not criticizing it, Jim. I'm just saying it for some reason looked brown, or purple did. I didn't draw logos like Jim, but it's probably the best penmanship I can muster out of this 48-year-old body.
Did you get EG to do it?
I did not. EG's got great penmanship. You do too. I've always complimented your penmanship.
It's gotten worse over the last few years. Before you turn it around, can we just address what people were talking about in the chat room? I don't think that is a buttoned-up collared shirt in the brown. I think it's a golf shirt.
It's a golf shirt,
yeah. But people were made it look like you had a sweater and a buttoned-up dress shirt, like you were going to do business, and you were getting some.
Well, I plan on doing business.
You were getting some Mr. Rogers comments.
This is a Roback sweater, code TNR20 from Roback, Roback.com.
But it's more of a pullover sweatshirt-like thing. It is coming. It's not really a sweater, is it?
Well,
different texture.
What do you call this?
It's sort of it's outerwear.
Crew neck?
Yeah.
I think they call it a crew neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crew neck.
But it doesn't fall into sweater category for me.
So do you have a problem with this look? I mean,
No,
it's
not
not the
at
look
all.
you would choose, but are you
Oh, no,
critical of it?
it's a golf look.
It just looked like almost like you had a tie underneath that, the way it was.
Oh, I got you.
it was,
Yeah.
and everyone was singing Mr. Rogers to you in the neighborhood.
Open collar, baby.
Well,
Let me see
it's
what you
not
Brown's
like you've got
some business afterwards.
a backpack on and you're selling Bibles door to door.
I'll show some chest hair. Is that what the ladies at Aliceville want? They want the chest hair?
They don't like hair anymore. It's just they like slick on the chest. Brown.
It's good news for them. That's the way I keep it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, I kind of wanted that to finish.
No.
No. If Lance is slamming on the brakes, I'm going to slam on the brakes. Finest penmanship I've got. North Texas is playing UTSA. Now, I know you look at this game and say, how could it be sneaky good? Well, it's on ESPN2 on a Friday night. So Friday night when you're on ESPN2, you got to hunt to find it at 7 o'clock. The total in this game, 72.5.
That's a lot.
That's a bunch of points in college football. Now, Lance, the total for North Texas and Army was up in the 50s, and I question that. 14-3 final. They didn't score any points, so they saved all their points for UTSA here. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they moved the ball up and down on Army. They just couldn't. Once they got to the red zone, turnovers, fourth down conversions.
Yeah, it's going to be track meet, baby. Track meet.
Sometimes good penmanship and the correct colors are better than actually drawing the logo. That's really
those are
well
the
done.
colors. Thank you very much.
Who you got for us, LT?
Well, if you go to a CBS Sports Network game, you know it is sneaky good. That's 6 o'clock in San Jose. The Spartans are hosting Boise State. When you look at the Spartans, 3 losses, 2. One was that Friday night game to Washington State, where they lose in double overtime. A Washington State team that is high as number 16 now in the polls. One was at Colorado State by a possession. The other was at Fresno. So all losses have been on the road. Now they're hosting Boise State, coming off Boise's worst game probably. And Nick Nash, if you haven't watched him at the receiver position,
Nick Nasty,
he is going to be in that Cooper Cup mold. Nick Nash is going to be a really good receiver for years to come in the National Football League.
Nick Nash, and that's our sneaky good games happening this weekend. Brought to you, Brownie, by our friends at McCurry.
McCurryRentals.com is where you get started all over North Alabama. McCurryRentals.com.
All right, intriguing SEC championship game. The road to Atlanta seems to be
cluttered?
Yeah, well, it's cluttered, but also the excitement level on the road to Atlanta doesn't seem to be where it's been at the past.
I can tell you why.
But the intriguing matchup here, and Brown telling us why it's not as exciting here now, and our buddy Peter Burns has some thoughts too.
He did. He's going to give you the intriguing matchup. I'll tell you why it's not exciting, because I don't think any of these two-loss teams, and if Tennessee, certainly if they join the two-loss ranks soon, I don't think any of these two-loss teams want to test the theory that we've always operated under. And I think Jim's 100% on this theory. I don't know where Lance stands on this theory, but the theory we've always operated under is the number 2 team out of the SEC, which is the team that plays in Atlanta and loses, is never, ever, 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 ever getting left out of the playoffs.
You can't, or you're going to start having head coaches.
Yep.
Well, you never thought you'd live in a world where a player could tap out of a bowl game and now tap out of a regular season. We will get to a point, if that happens and a team goes in with 2 losses and loses a third game, and they take other 2-loss SEC teams that didn't play in that game above them, you'll have coaches all over say, we're not going to play in that game.
That's right. So never is that going to happen. But, Jim, I don't think anybody wants to be the team that tests that theory. That's why I think the excitement level might be down just a little bit.
Yeah, I've actually seen in our chat room and heard Alabama fans say, I hope we win the rest of them and somehow avoid Atlanta.
Well, it's going to be hard because in almost every scenario, they are the favorite to get there.
Yep.
That's only if Tennessee loses another game. Tennessee's got to lose another game.
I have not seen the intriguing matchup that Peter Burns is talking about that you're about to do it. I've written down one anchor team for that, and then one or the other of another team that I think would be the most intriguing matchups.
So here is how this is going to work. Somebody has done a website on this where you can plug in winners of each game and see who actually goes to the championship game. It is MRED. It's a very long URL. Perhaps we can send it out or something. But if you'll bear with me, I just want to walk through this real quick, and we'll go as quick as we can. I just need who you think is favored in these games, okay? Arkansas, Texas this week.
I have a feeling Arkansas pulls the upset, but Texas.
I just need who's the favorite.
Texas.
LSU, Florida.
LSU.
Georgia, Tennessee.
Georgia.
South Carolina, Missouri.
South Carolina.
All right.
South Carolina.
Next week, Auburn, Texas A&M. Who's favorite?
A&M.
Texas A&M.
Okay. Florida, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
LSU, Vandy.
LSU.
Mississippi State, Missouri. Oklahoma, Alabama. Texas, Kentucky.
Texas.
All right. Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Ole Miss.
Alabama, Auburn. LSU, Oklahoma.
LSU.
Missouri, Arkansas.
Is that game in Fayetteville?
Yeah. Just to Missouri because they're going to be technically, for this, going to be the favorite.
You think so?
Well, I think if it's in Fayetteville, I think Arkansas is favorite.
I'm just saying favorite team.
Missouri's getting 12.5 this week in Columbia.
We'll come back to that one.
I think Arkansas would win, though.
Who's the favorite Texas A&M?
Scott
Texas.
says it's at Missouri.
It's at Missouri?
Then Missouri will be favorite. Texas is favorite.
All right, then Tennessee, Vandy.
Tennessee.
All right, so in this layout here, I've just entered favorites win the rest of the games, which we know doesn't happen. Your conference championship game is Texas, Alabama. Okay? This is what Peter Burns was talking about earlier today. If you change the outcome of just one game, and the game is, and it's interesting that we discussed this game. I didn't know we were going to land on this game, Missouri, Arkansas. You just change that outcome. The favorites win every single game except Arkansas beats Missouri. Do you know who goes to the conference championship game? If Peter Burns is talking about it, there's your first clue. LSU.
Wow.
Isn't that insanity? That's according to this, which
that's with all the favorites winning.
All the favorites win the remainder of your Southeastern Conference games, and the only upset, and it's not even a big upset, is Arkansas beating Missouri. Your conference championship game is Texas versus LSU.
I don't think LSU can pull it off.
You don't think they can beat Texas, or you don't think they can beat Florida, Vandy, and Oklahoma?
Yeah, I don't think they can go 3-0 to close out the season.
Well, then that would be a problem.
Yeah. I agree with Lance. They've got to thread some needles, and Nussmeier has not been good at
But
threading
here
needles.
is the good news. If they did get to Atlanta and they win the game, they deserve to be in. But more than likely they would lose. That would give them their fourth loss, and they have zero shot at getting in.
Do you think the SEC, if LSU got there, would they here are the two questions. Would they breathe a sigh of relief? Because now we don't have to test the number 2 team getting left out.
2-loss team getting a third loss and getting left out.
Yeah. Or, I mean, would they?
It would actually set a precedent that says you can leave out the
I don't know. If I'm Greg Sankey, or if it played out, I'd be like, this is a very important game. We understand the committee's decision to leave out a 4-loss.
They're a 4-loss team at that point. That's my point, is that the SEC might actually breathe a sigh of relief, like, all right, we're not going to have to test that theory right now.
See, going into the game as a team that would be in the playoffs and then coming out as a team that wouldn't be in the playoffs is a scenario that shouldn't exist. Going in as a team that's not in the playoffs.
Correct. And there's nothing that's going to get LSU in that top 12.
And then losing, then you were never in. I think the one that would be great for our friends at ATIX, who usually have a handful of or more SEC championship game tickets available for you guys to buy, or for the Atlanta, the folks in Atlanta that want to sell out stadium, I think it's Tennessee or Ole Miss versus Texas. That would be the dream scenario, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's Ole Miss versus Texas, but I get you. I mean, the Tennessee fan base is bigger. It's been 2007. Forever. It's been 17 years since they've gotten there.
Forever.
But Ole Miss, that first go-around playing Texas, Texas is going to flood the dome.
Yeah.
Can I this is from someone, I'm not necessarily saying with the SEC, but just in the SEC realm that knows what's going on here.
Okay.
Can I qualify it that way and you guys be okay with it?
I'm pretty sure I feel good about that.
Somebody I trust, okay, that's in the realm of the Southeastern Conference and knows what's going on. And I asked the question because this person and I were texting, and here's what this person said. 70 to 80% chance the SEC championship game winner is the winner of the Texas A&M game versus Alabama or Tennessee. This person said that's almost 80% looking at all the scenarios. If it's head-to-head, it'll be Tennessee. If it just is Alabama and Tennessee tied, it's going to be Tennessee, obviously, because head-to-head. But this person says, obviously, that's an unlikely outcome. If it's a 3-team tiebreaker or more, almost 100% it's Alabama. Like, Alabama has the inside track with all the hand-wringing that is going on this year.
Because of their inside track,
because of their strength of conference schedule. They've got the inside track to Atlanta. And, man, if they get into one game with Texas.
I tell you what's even more tricky. Like, if LSU got there and won, what does that do to some other teams that aren't playing?
Oh, it's going to knock out an SEC team that was in going
that's what I'm saying.
into the week.
Yeah. Where's my bid stealers at?
That's right.
That's the bid stealer at that point.
This person went on to say, this person close to the SEC went on to say, anybody that says the number 2 team of the SEC gets left out is out of their mind. Never happening.
Well, unless it's LSU.
But as they're saying here, the scenarios really favor Alabama or Tennessee more than LSU. But yeah, you're right. A 4-loss LSU would be different.
I do think Tennessee's interesting. Well, I guess Tennessee loses
to Georgia this weekend.
If Tennessee loses to Georgia, they're pretty much out, right?
Because Tennessee
of the SEC championship.
Yeah, the SEC championship.
No, I think that's what gets.
No, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what gets us to the 80% scenario.
Yeah.
Well, I would say if Tennessee got stomped by Georgia and then gets into the game and has a third loss, I don't know.
That's what we're talking about, though. You can't penalize them for having to play that extra game.
I know, but if you've got a loss to Arkansas, your other loss in conference, you get destroyed, and then you lose the SEC championship to drop to 3 losses.
I think you know the answer to this. What do you think Arkansas's record is right
5-4.
They're 5-4, yeah.
No,
I mean, that's what I thought. I saw Cannell go on this rant talking about, bad under 500 teams. He mentioned Vanderbilt. He mentioned Arkansas. They're all over 500, and they're all good teams.
That's right. I mean, there's a chance that Arkansas ends up, in my opinion, when it's all said and done, 7-5 this year.
Yeah, Tennessee has got to lose a game for all of this to be triggered, and it's probably going to be Saturday. But they've got to lose a game for all of this to be triggered. But then the only way they get to Atlanta is basically if it comes down to a head-to-head with them and Bama. Now, this is assuming a lot of things, one of which Alabama doesn't fall again. But they need a head-to-head tie with Alabama to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, or beat Georgia and then they're
That's
one.
right. That's right. But I'm saying if they lose another game, their scenario that gets them to Atlanta is a head-to-head tie. Almost every other outcome favors Alabama when you start to look at it. It's crazy, but because of Alabama's conference schedule, if Tennessee loses this game Saturday, Alabama is a virtual lock to
if
Atlanta.
Alabama was to win the SEC championship, what is the highest you guys think their final ranking could be going into the postseason?
If Alabama wins the SEC championship, 2.
Yeah. And that's where I think they actually think they would be.
And that's
2.
just based on Oregon and Ohio State winning out.
One of those 2 would be 1, and Alabama would be 2.
Yeah, I think
Texas or whoever wins that conference.
Yeah, we're trending toward the Big Ten is going to be the 1 seed, and the SEC is going to be the 2 seed.
Yeah, and the ACC and the Big 12 are going to have their one single team in this thing at 3 and 4.
Unless whiskey shows up Saturday night.
You know who that helps? Alabama's strength of schedule.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Alabama can't lose.
Now again, all this is that's true. All this is based on the SEC level, just on your conference strength of schedule. It's got nothing to do with your out of conference. They only look at conference strength of schedule. What you're referencing would be how you are in the rankings because of Wisconsin.
All right, more college football playoff conversation right there. We'll circle back near the end of the show to the winners and losers. We've got 4 downs coming up, and then a Roman Harper at the top of the hour. Can't miss out on Roman, who's with us on a Wednesday this week, not a Thursday. And then there was a tweet yesterday that I don't know if I ever got an explanation from. It was one of the strangest tweets I've ever seen.
That's
from a head football coach.
That's a big statement.
In the Southeastern Conference.
Oh.
Not named Lane Kiffin. So that's coming up on the show, brought to you in part by our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com. And then LT will tell you about HydroLife.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. And they've got great deals to help you go see fall and soon to be winter in America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. That includes travel trailers, $145 a month is where they start. Fifth wheels, $45,000 and more in savings. And RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned. That is when you visit Johnston RV Center. See more at johnstonrvcenter.com.
IV therapy, B12 injections, compression therapy, cryotherapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. Get and see our friends at HydroLive Therapy. Very important. Mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off all of those great services. You can book your appointment online. Walk-ins are welcome. Go to hydrolifetherapy.com. If you can't make it to one of those 2 Birmingham or Tuscaloosa locations, they can actually come to you. They can send a nurse to your home or business. Again, hydrolifetherapy.com. Mention the next round.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Done away, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Done Away is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Here at the Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn, Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Some sounds of the game before we get to 4 downs in this segment. Being brought to you by our friends at Gray's Tree Service, the guys who came and really saved Lance's life because he had 4 dead pines that when a wind came blowing by was just going to turn into 4 spears. And God was going to be throwing spears through the side of his house right at him.
I do want to say this. So
thank you for your service, Gray's Tree Service.
Me and Bethany's second house, which actually, and you guys know this is like 3 blocks from my current house. But we had a guy out, trying to cut corners, young couple, first kid, that kind of stuff. Guy was going door to door, and I knew that there was a dead tree out back, and I had gotten an estimate. And this guy comes in, and he's one of those guys that can do everything around the neighborhood. And the neighbor that had been there longer is like, don't use that guy. He's not a reputable guy. Mm-hmm. So we let him come try to extract a tree. They tie a couple of ropes around the tree.
Oh, dear.
They're actually, after they sawed it, they're pulling it with a car.
Oh, yeah.
The tree falls. The dude scrambles. It misses him by about a foot. It would have been hammer to nail.
Well, I told you, my dad and I were one tree in my backyard, the house I had before this one, with my Ram truck back in the day. Dad's doing it, and he's got it. Okay, I'm going to cut it here, and I need you to. We're going to tie it to the back of your truck. I said, Dad, this is like a cartoon.
Yeah.
You're going to do what? I'm going to tie it to the back of your truck, and you're going to drive this way, and it's going to pull it this way as I cut it. If not, it's going to fall into the neighbor's house behind us. And I said, should I alert the neighbors? No, don't let them know.
That's the one thing you don't want to do.
So what's the first thing that happens? It start going the other way, and my truck is doing this. The back wheels are off the ground.
See, this is
a cartoon.
It's a job you should not do yourself. I can't imagine the PTSD I would have gotten.
Oh, yeah.
Just when I heard a buzzsaw or something after seeing a dude hammered into the ground in my backyard. Look, these guys are the most reputable out there, family-owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. They are experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. I had them out just a couple of months ago. They do fantastic work, trusted by nearly every golf course in town. In the Birmingham Zoo, there is no competition. Call Grace today. Tell them the Next Round sent you, 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code you see right there on your screen or just visit graystree.com.
I get into a lot of cartoon-like moments in my life. I don't know why. But it happened in Baton Rouge this past week. I'd given Emily Grace the parking pass. So I was parked out in the middle of nowhere, and you could see this actual incident on social media. So I had walked about 40 minutes after the game the way the pedal cab By the way, I did the pedal cab tribute to you.
There you
going
go.
to the stadium. Did a little video of that. So I said, Brown and I did this leaving. I'm going to do it going to the stadium.
We've broken up
Really,
now.
I'm just lazy trying to cut down a 3-mile walk, and the guy was right there. So I threw him $40 to take me to the stadium in the rain. But I'm walking back, trying to go the same path because I don't really. One pasture looks like another. I don't remember really where I'm parked. It's rainy and dark now, and I'm older. So I'm walking back the way the pedal cab had brought me, and I walk for about 40 minutes, and I get to a gate that is now locked, that was unlocked. And I can't go over it, and I can't go under it. And I'm like, well, crap, now I'm going to have to walk back 40 minutes. This is me. So I just happened to, and I'm sending this to EG to make her feel bad because she had the parking pass.
Of course.
Is your imaginary friend, is he filming this?
No, this is me filming it. I can't go under it. Then all of a sudden, somebody has had this happen to them before, and they have bent 2 of the bars to the side.
No.
So all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go through this.
So you had to bend the bars?
No, it was already bent.
It was already bent. They just told you where
there
it was.
It is. See them bent?
Oh yeah.
So I start to go through here. Well, you know who's not as skinny as he used to be?
Way to wellness.
Uh-oh. I am stuck.
No, you're not.
Cartoon-like moment. And then I realize if I go lower, it is bent down to the bottom, and my stomach can get through. But I had to, originally standing up, wasn't going either way, and I had to slide down thanks for the rain.
If you got stuck and couldn't get through, who was your first call?
It would have been EG and her dad. Her dad, Mark, was with. Mark would have come back and buttered that thing up, I guess, and squeezed me out.
I don't want to be this guy, but why did you not drop a pin when you parked? You're in an unfamiliar area.
Okay, on this panel, how many of us could drop a pin right now?
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Well, even more importantly, there's markers. You just take a picture.
Yeah. There were not markers. It's a pasture. It was a pasture.
Oh, it was a pasture?
Yeah, I knew it was on the other side of the baseball stadium.
You don't know how to drop a pin?
I do. I'm not good at it. It would have taken some time. I would have just called Mark. Yeah, Mark would have helped me.
No, I just meant when you parked, you're like, I am in unfamiliar territory. I'm just going to drop a pin right here.
Every time I get in that, it's very, I always just hit.
I accidentally drop pins all the time.
I hit the little panic button, and you normally can find your way.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the guy that was like, here's what you should have
done. I did that a couple of times, and you have to get close enough to eventually get it. Luckily, my truck was in a pasture by itself by the time I got there.
But there was a way out of the gate? Like the gate was locked, but there was a way you could get your truck out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The main road. If I'd have just stayed on the main road, with everyone else,
you'd have been fine. Yeah.
I'd have been fine. Right. But I was like...
Or if you wouldn't have given up your parking pass.
Yeah.
There's that, too.
Yeah. Passive-aggressive. Maybe brought that up 16 times on the day. Get EG to tell you about it. Every other time I was like, hey.
You don't say.
How's that parking pass working for you?
I'm tired. Had to walk all the way from another line.
Nick Sheridan is the very successful Alabama offensive coordinator after the win at LSU. He's getting all the flowers. He discussed with Emily Grace, who asked the question yesterday about Sheridan and Jalen Milroe, maybe a little harder coaching going into the LSU game.
Coach, in post-game, Jalen said that you coached him really hard to do what the play asks of him. In what ways did you see that on the field, and what was your approach in preparing him for the LSU game?
Well, we just, not specific to him, but all the players, we want them to execute things a certain way. Sometimes you can have production, and yet you didn't do it the right way. And sometimes when that happens, your consistency over time is not what you want it to be. And so there's a right way to do things fundamentally, reads, footwork. If you're a blocker, hat placement, leverage, you name it. There's a right way to do it so that you can get repeated and consistent results. And so that certainly was a message to the players that, just because you had production doesn't mean that you did it right. And the longer you play, when you go against good teams, your fundamentals, your technique, the simple execution always shows up. And so we were better.
Yeah, I would tell you that the reports we got from some information from practices for the 2 weeks leading into that game, I think falls into the category of we had heard Sheridan had done some hard coaching of Jalen Milroe, and there had been, it
felt like camp again, maybe.
Yeah, that maybe had been handled one way or the other. That had gave our sources a chance to tell us that maybe this was not going to be a Jalen Milroe game that it turned out being.
Well, look, whatever happened behind the scenes, it worked out for the best for everyone involved. And whether it was hard coaching and maybe Jalen, I don't know.
Accepting the hard coaching?
Yeah, maybe there was some resistance. I mean, you just don't see that type of coaching day in and day out in today's college football. But look, I mean, he was receptive to whatever happened because the way he played Saturday night, I mean, Travis Hunter aside, that is the best player in college football when he plays like that.
Yeah. And you said it on Twitter that Alabama's the best team in the country when Jalen Milroe plays like that, when he accepts the ability to run the football.
Here's what's interesting moving forward, though. Like this week against Mercer, it's a stay healthy game. We talked about it on Bama and Bourbon yesterday.
Yep.
Oklahoma and Auburn, you're going to be double-digit favorites. Like, how much do we see of what we saw with Milroe until you get to the postseason now?
You don't have to, in all likelihood.
Like, I would be scared to death. Like, you want him to be somewhat fresh, but you don't want him to be rusty when it comes to, running a lot of these quarterback-designed runs, but you don't really need him moving forward. So I'd be a little hesitant because you got to keep this guy healthy.
Let me just quickly do this because the mybookie.ag chat room starts asking this anytime it gets brought up because we've done this several times. There were people who were incorrect, and it's why we didn't report it, and it's, we did nothing with this, but it's been referenced a couple times that were telling us that Milroe might not play Saturday, that it could have been a Ty Simpson game. I don't think any of us believe
I don't know.
it.
I don't know if I ever heard that. I think it was that
you will see Ty Simpson.
Yeah, that maybe
which,
it was.
By the way, was true. You did see Ty Simpson.
Yeah, you can see him when it's really good too.
Yeah,
that there had been some tough coaching, and not every superstar handles tough coaching the same way.
But there again, everything.
Some people, I mean, Joel Klatt and Luganville, they say it to us all the time. Some people want to be coached hard.
Yeah.
Some people do not.
Yeah. So just to put that out there, everything we hear doesn't make it on the show. I just want to make that point, and that's what we were saying is that's just the kind of stuff that was around this team going into Baton Rouge. It was incorrect. You did see Ty Simpson, but you saw him after Jalen Milroe put up one of the best performances he's ever had in a Crimson uniform.
One of the best performances in Alabama history.
And let me say this, a lot of inside information is completely wrong. We have a friend, I call him Iceman because he called me years ago, probably 20 years ago. Man, I have got some intel on UAB this weekend. And I forgot exactly what it was, but it couldn't have been more wrong. So to this date, 20 years later, I still call him the Iceman. Yeah.
I should save every betting ticket I've ever placed in the history of my life off of bad information.
Yeah. I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah. And at the top of that stack right now would be LSU and Houston basketball in a parlay. Would be right at the top. Would be right at the top right now.
Well, your Auburn information was just everybody saw what happened on the plane, right? Everybody heard the recording.
I just assumed at that point this team cannot go from CBS News, trouble over Alabama air when Auburn basketball. I mean, CBS freaking News had that story.
Like national, not CBS 42, national
CBS News.
Holy crap.
Hey, what is the charge? Like if one of us got in an altercation with the other one of us on a flight and they had to turn it around and take it back to Shuttlesworth, what would I know there'd be air marshals waiting at the gate, but what is that charge? It's a felony, right?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Domestic terroristy.
Well, I don't know if it goes that far.
I don't know. I mean,
it sounds serious.
Back to Alabama football, and then we'll get to our four downs here. I think a lot of people, when they watch Milroe run the ball like he did, you're really happy about it, but you start thinking to yourself, man, I wonder what Ryan Williams thinks. He's a big five-star receiver, could play anywhere. Does he like not really getting passes thrown his way? Because when Milroe's having those type games, he's not throwing a lot. Well, Ryan Williams talked about that to EG yesterday too.
He a baller. He a dog. That's all I can say. We on the sideline. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get. I'm like, bro, look at your stat. Like, we don't care. We winning. Like, so we just proud and happy for him and glad to be a part of his team.
Yeah.
No,
don't worry. I'm not throwing passes at me.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Stop apologizing. Jalen was apologizing to the receivers when he was coming to the sidelines. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm not throwing it to you guys.
That bite from EG over in Tuscaloosa yesterday and then was shared on our social media by Little T and Scott and the entire gang that handles that went crazy. And actually, like some NFL players were interacting with it, either liking it or whatever, and former NFL players, because I think they love that attitude from a receiver that is a star receiver to say, I don't care what my stat line is. Look at his stat line and look at the scoreboard. I mean,
Hey, did you know he's 17?
That's a mature stance for a 17-year-old.
Same age as Cooper Flagg.
Which one's the better 17-year-old?
I'd take Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg. I mean, look, Ryan Williams.
To the discussion we're having right now, Cooper Flagg gets the ball in his hands a lot more.
He does.
If Ryan Williams had the ball in his hands as much as Cooper Flagg, I may like Ryan Williams more.
If I could only represent one player on this Alabama roster for moving forward for their career earnings, it would be Ryan Williams. But Cooper Flagg is the guy right now in college I think everybody would represent.
Yeah. By the way, Zach's saying Ryan Williams loves Alabama. It's family to him. That's Zach over in the mybookie.ag.
He plays hard. I mean, the kid, I don't see him taking plays off. I don't know about you guys.
4 downs in just a second. Our friends Daniel A. Moore can get a Ryan Williams piece right now. Deuces Wild, Ryan Williams, Zabian Brown, the Deuces that helped Alabama beat Georgia. Still a significant win in the season for the Tide. You can get that preliminary sketch and pre-order right now at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban, his 6 national championships. Pre-order right now and actually order The Legend. You can also jump in and get the 2025 Daniel Moore Art calendar for the upcoming year. It's a great stocking stuffer for the Tide fan in your life. Coupon code TNR gets you 20% off that. I'm telling you, if you got a Bama fan, get them that calendar. 20% off. Use the promo code TNR. They will love it for 12 months all next year, and you can do it again in 2026. All at DanielMooreArt.com. 4 downs, LT, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 locations for lunch or dinner. Stop in, get a slice and a salad, pick up a couple of pies on your way home. Created by Jeff Bajalia, his brothers Jason and Chris. Continue to celebrate his great legacy. Stop in for lunch or dinner. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More surprising season. Kansas to the bad or South Carolina to the good?
South Carolina improving so much. I think there was a point, was it the Kentucky loss? They lost to Kentucky, right? I think that the Kentucky loss.
No, they beat Kentucky.
They beat
lost to
beat the hell out of Kentucky.
They lost to LSU and very controversial
LSU
fashion.
by 3.
Ole Miss ran them out.
Yeah, by 24, and then Bam, obviously the 2-point loss.
Okay. There was a point earlier in the year where you thought this South Carolina team and Shane Beamer were going to go the other direction, and they have turned into maybe even a better story than Vandy and Diego Pavia when it's said and done. South Carolina, for me, is the more surprising.
South Carolina, their last 3 games against Oklahoma on the road, Vanderbilt on the road, and A&M, they've won those 3 games by combined 24 points. Closest game, 21 points. They are playing great football. I'm going to go South Carolina after the Old Dominion. I think you and I agreed. Probably the worst team going into week 2 in the SEC was South Carolina.
Yeah, because remember, week 1, State went out to Arizona State and played with Arizona State. Like, I thought Mississippi State looked pretty good week 1, actually.
Yeah, South Carolina's 2 plays away from being where Tennessee is in the college football playoff rankings.
That's right, and I don't think anybody would want to play that defensive pass rush and the way Sellers can run the football. They got some talent.
I would say I'm more surprised by Kansas, though. When you looked at their pre-conference schedule and they had Jalen, not Jaden, but Jalen Daniels coming back, and that preseason schedule just looks so forgiving for them. Reese Davis said it last night, the worst prediction I've ever made was having them in the conference championship game. I kind of thought they would fight to be there, too. I thought they could be a sneaky playoff team, and they have been awful for a lot of the year.
Yeah, really the only unexplainable loss for them was looking back at this TCU by 11. I mean, everything else was a 1-possession loss, and now they're coming off their best performance. You know, that game wasn't 45-36. It was a lot more of a beatdown on the Kansas side. But I am shocked that Kansas, with a healthy Jalen Daniels, is in that situation. And not that they can turn the season around, but, you know, they could beat BYU and Colorado in the next couple of weeks, and it would feel a lot different.
You could have convinced a lot of people back in July and August that Kansas and Utah would play each other for the Big 12 championship.
Second down.
I would not have. Yeah, I would not have been shocked at that one. By the way, Oklahoma State I thought would factor in too, and they're in the cellar of the league.
More surprising, SMU to the good or Oklahoma to the bad?
Well, I mean, Oklahoma's schedule is always going to be challenging, even though they're a good team. Now, they're a worse team than I thought they would be when you look at them with the eye test.
And on the flip side, SMU's schedule was always going to be not as challenging.
Yeah.
But they were moving to the ACC.
The thing, but if I'm an Oklahoma fan, look what Vanderbilt and South Carolina have done.
I think I'm more surprised. I'm not stunned by SMU, though.
I'm not either. I mean, it was my favorite overplay of the year going in. 8.5 was the win total. They haven't gotten there yet because they're sitting at 8-1, right? Yeah, they've still got a game to win. But a lot of that was based on them going to the ACC, which I didn't think was that difficult of a transition. They're showing it's not because they haven't lost an ACC game yet.
I still thought Oklahoma would find a way to be 6-6.
Which I guess they still can, technically.
Technically, they still can.
Yeah.
Third down.
But I'm more surprised by Oklahoma.
I think this one's a difficult question. You guys might knee-jerk it quickly, but more surprising to the good Indiana or the bad Florida State?
It's got to be bad Florida State. Look, I know Indiana.
Well, Indiana's never done this
They
before,
never.
period.
Well, but I don't know that anybody in college football's ever done what Florida State has done.
Yeah. No, it's pretty.
I mean,
I'm going to say Florida State.
Yeah.
But Indiana's probably 1B.
It's a difficult question.
It is a difficult question, Lance, which is crazy to consider. But Florida State still thinks I think they get Charleston Southern, right? So I think they can get that second win there. But to go from 13 wins to 2 wins is almost impossible to do in college football. Almost impossible.
And I just remember everyone from Nick Saban to a million media people saying this Florida State roster is not dropping off.
Yeah, and
you look at what they lost. I mean, obviously Jordan Travis was the big one. Keon Coleman is starring out for the Bills right now. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk defensively for the Rams. I mean, they lost a lot. I just thought they had more depth. I thought they would take steps backwards, but in no world did anybody believe they would fall this much.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
So this is finally starting to get some hype. I'm having people ask me about it, but Mike Tyson, probably his last fight ever this Friday night against Jake Paul.
At AT&T Stadium.
Yep. It's going to be the
Is
biggest.
it actually in the football stadium?
Yeah. It's going to be the biggest in-person, probably biggest gate ever.
So they'll have that many people that'll go to this?
It's going to be 60,000 plus.
So it'll be the equivalent of the crowd WrestleMania 3 had at the Silverdome, which was
They hyped it up a little bit more, but it'll equivalent to that. It's on Netflix.
See, and I just learned at church Sunday that I actually have this fight for free because it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
I did not realize.
And
that.
there's almost 300 million subscribers on Netflix now, so it could ultimately be like maybe the most watched fight of all time.
But when they announced this, I thought we were going to have to pay per view this.
Yeah, it's not an additional charge on Netflix, right? If I've got a Netflix account, I got this fight.
Yep, and I would highly suggest, to make it more entertaining, if you want to watch with a wife or girlfriend, go back and watch the Netflix documentary. Have you watched it yet? With both, like, kind of the origin of Jake Paul and how he came up, and then obviously the same with Tyson. It will give you kind of a rooting interest. HBO used to do this before all their big fights. I think getting to know the camp, getting to know the fighter a little bit, it's always fun. But my ultimate question to you guys, 27-year-old Jake Paul or 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who wins?
It's a draw.
Oh, you think they fight to an end and it's a draw?
Yeah.
Normally you do that
100%.
to get a second fight. There's zero chance there'll be a second fight here.
And I think one of two things happens. I think either Tyson knocks him out early, but I think more than likely is you've got a TKO from Paul in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round after. Because they're 2-minute rounds.
What time's this going to start?
Probably 9:30.
Somebody asked if the sun would be a factor. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Like, I couldn't see the punch. The sun was in my eyes, Jerry. 10:30, you think?
9:30, 10. Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't know. I know you got the chick-on-chick undercard. There's some other things going on.
I guess I'll watch it.
Several fights on the undercard.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a fun Friday night. Young Jack has been pumped about this since they announced it, and then they had to push it back because of the Mike Tyson medical situation on the plane.
Originally scheduled for July, so it's happening this Friday night. Tyson 58, 27-year-old Jake Paul. Friday night, AT&T Stadium, streamed for you on Netflix.
Now, everybody in our generation is going to say Mike Tyson is going to kill this YouTuber. If you watch the YouTuber from his first fight against another YouTuber to where he is right now, this guy is all in on boxing. I don't know if he's got a chin. I do know he's got heavy hands, and this would not be good if this thing goes into the 3rd or 4th round for Mike Tyson. I think Paul wins TKO.
Roman Harper in our next segment. That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 locations, lunch or dinner. Stop in today. For more information from the Soul Pie to the Wing and a Prayer, go to slicebirmingham.com.
And our friends at mybookie.ag.
Yeah, you can. I guess you could play that fight at mybookie.ag.
I mean, I think it's minus 310 right now to Paul.
Oh, here it is. Tyson versus Paul. All I got to do is click on the tab right here at mybookie.ag, and I can tell you who the favorite is. You can play all the college football games, the NFL games, which start back Thursday night with that Eagles game Thursday night. You can play the college football weekend right there at mybookie.ag. Jake Paul is a minus 218 favorite, minus 218. Over-under is round.
Yep.
That's 5.5. So that's your over-under.
I would go under.
You'd go under 5.5 rounds. That's Lance's play there. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson right there at mybookie.ag. That just shows you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on. You're going to make your initial deposit. You're going to put in code next round, and they're going to double that initial deposit. That is all right there in mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Roman Harper talks SEC football next.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Thanksgiving is here, and let the New York Butcher Shop be the place to get all of your holiday meal items. Their premium turkeys are fresh, free-range, and hormone-free. The New York Butcher Shop also has a wide selection of chef-prepared side items to help save you time in the kitchen. Pick up a bottle of wine, and your meal will be complete. Turkeys are selling fast, so place your order today. 2 locations to serve you, in Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Roman Harper standing by as we get ready to bring in Roman Harper. I wonder what Brian Kelly meant yesterday when he tweeted this out. All he tweeted was the state of football. Could be a lot of things. All I know is his biggest recruit, the number one quarterback in all of college football and recruiting, was on site in Baton Rouge this past week, and I know Michigan is getting ready to stack up money.
That's the state of football right there, my friend.
That, my friend, is the state of football.
You know what is not right now? The state of Louisiana. I don't think that's what he meant.
Hey, that's an easy sell if you're Brian Kelly. Look, we're going to pay you more money than we were yesterday.
That's right.
But you can tell we need you, and we need you next year.
Oh, that's a sell for Michigan, too. Roman Harper is with us now a day early for Harp. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, presented each week by MyBookie.ag. What is up, Harp? How are you?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? I wish I knew what Brian Kelly meant by that, too. What does that mean? I don't know.
Very strange.
Very odd, very odd.
It seems like an excuse, actually. Like if I'm just dissecting myself, the state of college football. Back when times were good, I used to win championships and play for championships, but the state of football now.
Yeah.
Although we're ready to pay a quarterback.
Alabama outcoached them. They outperformed them, and they got to recruit better. I think LSU, I think coaching was an issue. I also think talent was a separator as well in that game. Alabama was bigger, more physical. I think talent-wise, LSU has a ways to go to get to that elite status consistently. And LSU probably showed us who they truly were a little bit more than we thought they were, because they had won a couple close games. And Ole Miss was a team that showed us that they were a team that had lost a couple they had lost a couple close games versus LSU had won a couple close games.
I'm interested in the Jalen Milroe we saw Saturday night. You just brought up coaching. Makes coaching look really good when you got the best player on the field. Go back through the other games since the big win over Georgia. Do you think it was health or coaching why we didn't see Jalen Milroe running the ball like that? Or was it just the other team taking that away? Why haven't we seen more of that between Georgia and LSU from Jalen Milroe? What's Roman Harper's thoughts?
I think Alabama's a team that's continuing to figure out who they are, the best version of themselves. Versus Tennessee, they should have did way more of what we just saw them do versus LSU. The fact that you try and throw the ball 40-something times in a rowdy crowd. The hand signals were different, so Alabama did not jump off sides as much. So they weren't starting in the hole as many times on drives. Like, that was a big difference. That's coaching. You look at some of the mismatch and plays that they had designed up for LSU, whether it's the quarterback runs and, we're going to fake it here, but the running back's going to be the lead run guy. Then all of a sudden they run the counter back the other way when LSU tried to adjust to the running back side. That's all coaching and play design and setting your team setting them up to be successful just by purely calling the right play in the right situation and then allowing your players to take over from there. Defensively, I thought Alabama played really well. They played hard. I see things on tape I could talk a million times about. It's very unsound, but hey, it worked. So I don't have anything to say. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to blow it up when your car's running great on the interstate. But I'm just telling you, it's still some things out there I question at times. But congrats to Alabama. Big win for them. Big win for the program. Big statement win going forward. Really sets them up for the playoff trajectory, because everything we do now going on for the rest of the year, especially in the SEC, it's all about a beauty contest. And so the best looking teams will be the teams that look better at the end and will be the teams that get in and won't get squeezed out of the playoffs. Like a fourth or a fifth SEC team may get squeezed out this year because of the success of the Big Ten and what the committee has told us their opinions are about the Big Ten.
Roman Harper is with us. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on MyBookie.ag. Double that initial deposit. Code next round to double that deposit at MyBookie.ag. Bray Hubbard has got more playing time for Alabama. He was very good, it appeared, against LSU.
Who's the first guy that said, "Hey, I feel fine," because the Hubbard kid's pretty good?
That was Roman Harper. When I asked Roman Harper, and I was thinking about this in the game, Hart, because I remember, like, man, Keon Sabb, bad injury for Alabama. I don't know if the defense survives without Keon Sabb. They're probably just not even going to play defense without Keon Sabb. But you're like, bro, Tap the brakes. This Bray Hubbard kid can play. Just wait till you see him. I mean, and now we're seeing him harping. You were right. That kid can play.
And look, man, things that stand out to me on tape, it's a couple things. When effort, all right, being in the right position, and what are you doing when you get there? How are you trying to affect the ball player and the tackle the ball or get the ball carrier on the ground? And what people don't understand, you can try and break down as much tape as you want, but you can't change the fact that 85% of tackling is want to. How bad you want to get that guy down? How bad are you willing to get on the train tracks in front of a big old train that's running 100 miles an hour? How bad do you want to take that pain and get up and do it again? That young man ain't afraid of it, and he's not creating angles. He's trying to get there in a hurry. And so when I see those things, he stands out to me. He initially flashed on tape. I look back at him. He's a really great athlete coming out of the state of Mississippi, did a whole bunch of different things in high school, and now he's playing secondary and safety. And so I love the fact that he made that really tough catch. That was a really good catch. And then I'm looking at him make some other plays in the run game, communicating. Like I said before, guys, I don't like to toot my own horn too many times unless I'm right. And in this case, I was.
More surprising to you, Alabama goes to Baton Rouge and wins by 19, and that was a little misleading. They won by a lot more than 19. At least it looked that way. Or the fact that Ole Miss dominates Georgia in the rain and wins by 18.
So the closer it got to, the short answer is Ole Miss. Number one, I don't trust Mississippi teams because they always let me down the moment I start to trust them. So you got that factor into it. The other factor is that I thought Ole Miss could win the game. I picked Ole Miss to win the game. Hi, you guys can say hi to Peanut Tillman, everybody.
Peanut Tillman. So
what's up, Peanut?
And yeah, they said hi. I guess you guys. He says he likes Ole Miss, but the quarterback is good.
Okay.
All right. So the thing is that I don't trust the Mississippi teams. They've let me down. I understand that, but I just didn't. I thought Ole Miss could win the game, but I didn't see them winning it in the way they did. And the other thing is that I come out of this game, and I think I have some answers about Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that's going to look better on paper as the beauty contest we talk about coming down the stretch. They're a team that's going to look better going down the stretch because they beat Georgia, and they're going to look like a team that's progressing in the right way. A team for me that I come across with so many more questions is Georgia. There's no way I would imagine in the last 10 years that in week 11 or 12, I'm looking at Georgia and I'm being a mirror and making them look at me and giving them the source back is that, what is your identity? And if you couldn't tell me what Georgia's identity is right now for this team. And that is something I didn't think I would have to be able to think or even say for a Georgia team under Kirby Smart, who's been so good the last 10 years. And so that's the one thing that I came out of this weekend that, man, who is Georgia? I thought Alabama going into this game, I was confident about it the last 2 weeks. And the closer I got to this game, I was even more confident. And all I had to say for Alabama is run the football downhill at these boys because you're way bigger than they are up front. That showed. I thought they'd do it with the running back. They did it with the quarterback. That's fine. And then I need the same mentality with Kalen DeBoer and the coaches on the sidelines, getting after guys. Looked like Kalen DeBoer even said a 4-letter word at one point in time. I loved it. Can't wait. And then the last thing was defensively, when Garrett Nussmeier throws you the ball, which he will, catch it. And they did all those things. And when you do that, and I told you guys all year long, I'm not grading Alabama, but on a curve defensively. They held LSU to like less than 40-something% on third down conversions. They held them to a couple field goals early in that game. They didn't let them get touchdowns, and they created turnovers. That's all I cared about. And offensively for Alabama, they were, 11 for 13 or 14 on third down conversion. So they continued to create and convert on third down, and defensively they got off the field.
Yeah, and I agree with you on all of that. Key defensive plays when you had to have them. I mean, that first drive after you score the touchdown, you give up the really great kick return, and then boom, big running play off the edge. You're down to the 5. Yeah. Red zone holds them out. Then that fourth down stop. Then Jihad Campbell gets the strip sack, and you score a touchdown. Then they're going to get back into the game, and you get the loss and interception down in the red zone again. Those are big-time plays, But it's like you're telling me almost I can't relax and say, man, they're going to do this the rest of the time. You keep hinting to me I can't count on this defense. All of a sudden, I'm ready to write a Kane Womack, I apologize, Kane, for doubting you email. Should I hold my email and not apologize to Kane yet?
No, you can write it, but I'm telling you, you might just be ready to delete some of it after you write it. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's just some things out there that concern me. I'm just a defensive guy, guys, and I just know what I see. But if the offense don't see it, then it's not our problem, right? Like, and I was always taught from Greg Williams, don't cover the ones that they ain't throwing it to. And so right now, it's some holes out there, some things I'm like, I'm nervous about it. But if they don't find it and they don't throw it, then I guess we don't have to answer those questions.
Well,
the email will be just fine. The email will land great, gracefully.
Then you be
but
quiet.
Don't
you tell anybody about those holes in. Don't you hush. Don't tell anybody about those holes in.
I'm not saying that's what I said. I'm not saying anything. I have it. Yeah. Just leave it alone. Yeah. I'm just telling you. You know my eyes don't lie to me.
Going to get to playoffs and be like, hey, Roman, Dan Lanning, how you doing, buddy? Haven't talked to you in a while.
What's up, DM? Yeah. Roman Harper with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round to sign on at MyBookie.ag. Code next round where Tennessee is at Georgia. A 10-point favorite right now, the Bulldogs. And you said you're worried about Georgia. What worries you most? I'll give you a list. You can pick from any of the list. You don't have to limit yourself to one. Their defense, with respect to previous defenses, looks lesser. Okay, maybe average. I don't know if average is a good word.
True statement.
Their offensive line is not good. They cannot protect back.
True.
They don't seem to have playmakers outside.
True.
And
can't run the ball.
Well, they can't run the ball. I think they're okay at running back or good at running back. They can't run because of the offensive line. And then their quarterback's not very good right now. I mean, there's a lot of not very good that I just put in that sentence.
Yeah, I don't even think that was a complete sentence. That's more like a whole bunch of run-on sentences put together and put a question mark at the end. Yes. And so the answer to it all is all of the above. And it's not just one thing. And that's why I'm asking you right now, the most important thing that is like, who is Georgia? What is their identity? In past years, if you ask the Georgia team that, they'd be able to tell you exactly who they are. My identity is this. And so I don't think they do that right now. Defensively up front, they're not as good. There are no Jalen Carters and Jordan Davises up there, along with Nolan Smith and the one guy that's actually number one overall pick. I keep forgetting his name out of everybody. Jalen Walker. All of these guys, and follow behind like Nakobe Dean and the rest of the linebackers. And so that's one group of it. The offensive line is not protected, and you thought that they would be better because they brought back all these starters from last year's team. And Carson Beck is seeing a lot. And if you see a lot in football, that means you see a little. And so he has to continue to get it dialed back in, throwing the football in the right anticipation. He's got to get protected, and the ball has to come out. And right now I feel like he's having to do so much heavy lifting for his whole offense, whether it's getting the protections, the checks, throwing the ball correctly, making sure the receivers get the checks, because a couple of interceptions aren't his fault because the receivers ain't getting the checks. So, and wide receivers need to get open. And here, I'll tell you like this. My issue between the quarterback and the receivers is this, in the offense, is that when Mike Bobo runs this offense, it's a really good offense. It's a pro-style offense. I understand all of that. And the best thing about a pro-style offense is that when the quarterback, you got an NFL-ready quarterback who can throw the ball on time, when your wide receivers can separate, because that's what NFL wide receivers do. But guess what, guys? Not every receiver in college is an NFL wide receiver. So they don't all separate the same. And so when you don't get that separation on the outside, now the quarterback holds it, and then all of a sudden, just the timing and everything else is off. And so if you're not getting that separation naturally by your wide receivers, as a coordinator, you have to create the space and the separation for them. And so that is where I think the change or the light bulb has to go off for this offense. You got to create more space. It's a reason why Hofstra could get space for wide receiver. It's a reason why, you look at a Northern Illinois, like they still get open. It's because they're designing guys to get open offensively. They got to help them out on that side of it. And defensively, you got to just keep playing. And you guys got to communicate more. And they got to understand it's not just about communication on the secondary piece, but it's also about anticipation. if you don't anticipate what the wide receivers are going to be doing, you will always be a step behind. And that is what happened versus Ole Miss. They were always just a step behind.
Better chance at an upset, Arkansas in Fayetteville against Texas or Tennessee on the road in Athens?
So I don't want to sleep on the Arkansas game, but I think Texas defense is better than what everybody gives them credit for, because everybody talks about their offense. And so I think Arkansas will turn the football over, and when Arkansas turns the football over, they lose. And for me, so I would go with Tennessee as the upset to over Arkansas's upset, but I don't think Tennessee and Georgia have similar weaknesses, which is they both struggle to score offensively at times. And I don't know at Athens if, Tennessee has had all their tough games at home. They haven't really, been road warriors, in my opinion. So I'll take Georgia with this one. But I don't know if Georgia can cover 10 points. For all those mybookie.ag guys out there.
10 points. You get it right there at mybookie.ag. Harp says the play is Tennessee getting the 10.
Dogs can win, but maybe not cover.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, guys.
All right, he is Roman Harper, and we always appreciate his time talking SEC football. You'll see him on the SEC Network and ESPN throughout the weekend. Thank you very much, Harp.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you guys always. Right here in the iHeart Radio studio. Shout out to them here in Atlanta. So thank you guys. They're hosting me and Peanut for our NFL Players Second Acts podcast. So thank you. We're bringing out some bangers this week, so it's going to be good.
Hey, and thank Peanut again for helping defenses eliminate 20-yard runs downfield, because it becomes the most popular play now. Punching that thing out. It happens almost every game.
Punching the ball.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? He just name dropped his own play earlier in the podcast. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like talking in third person. Like, he's like, my peanut punch. I'm like, that is you. You can't just – I know everybody else says it, and he gets all the credit for it. He was amazing at it. I give it to him. But, he just dropped the third-person party of the peanut punch himself.
Hey, and because it's so popular, you can get a couple of cheap shots in by missing the ball and actually hitting your opponent and not getting flagged for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was doing the peanut punch. I went in it.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're punching down, you're always safe. When you start going up, I think that's like questionable. Like I think he's trying to hurt down.
Yeah.
Down is fine. Up is different. That's all I'm saying.
Harp, thank you, man. Safe travels.
All right, fellas. Be good. Thank you.
Buddy. We'll see you. Roman Harper joins us each week, courtesy of mybookie.ag. As he said, you can find that Georgia-Tennessee game however you like it. Harp thinks that's maybe a little too rich. Georgia favored 10 in that game. Auburn still a 24-point favorite over Louisiana Monroe Saturday. MyBookie.ag, code next round to play those. Code next round is important because it gets you double your initial deposit. You make that first deposit, they're going to double it with code next round at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
And our buddy Dr. B has got LT's hair ready for week 12.
Yeah, Dr. B, best in the business. Not only myself, Brown, also seeing Dr. B right now. We're doing that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. Beckenstein today. That great staff. Schedule a consultation, 205-319-0316. For more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net.
Always appreciate Roman being with us. Show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, 2 Highway 119 in Alabaster. Would love to have some of Champy's right now. Wish it was one right in our lobby. Would be fantastic. Like that commercial, was it Devontae Adams?
Yeah.
That's got Taco Bell at his house?
Yeah, I take Champy's at my house.
If I had a Champy's right here at work right now, I'd walk out there and get the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the hand-cut chicken fingers, the brined overnight cooked to order, piping hot fried chicken, big 2-breast guy. Love that, and all the sides. It's all right there. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go and check out Sterling and the crew right now.
I was there Saturday. Hallie had her final soccer game Saturday morning, and it was just about lunchtime. The games are starting, so we swung by Champy's. It was in Alabaster. It was at your old high school. What is the old Thompson High School now? I think is the middle school or whatever.
I get confused,
they got those athletic fields out there anyway. And Megan walked by, and she's like, I see you got your tamales.
Yes.
Happy 3 Mississippi Delta recipe tamales.
Perfect for the football Saturdays there with Champy's. 2 things. Auburn back in action against Louisiana Monroe this weekend. Peyton Thorne, again, we'll say it again, scheduled to not be with us this week. He was not with us yesterday. That was planned out way at the beginning of the season, back in August when we signed the contract. He did talk to the media yesterday, and as everyone reported, he was in the room. Peyton Thorne believes he'll play against ULM. Now, he says he believes he'll play.
Didn't say start?
Didn't say start, and didn't say all the didn't say he play all the game. It'll be interesting to see how Hugh handles that this weekend.
I just think if you're going to go young, you've I don't know if you say this out loud, but you guys tell me if you think I'm insane about this. If you're going to go young, you make the conscious decision. If you're Hugh Freeze and Ken Alston and maybe if the defense, if you're DJ Durkin, if they're going young, you make the conscious decision. We don't care about outcomes. We're trying to get our young guys better. You can't do both, can you?
No, I don't think you can, and I don't think so. This is going to contradict a little bit because Hugh Freeze told us, or at least we were told, that year 3 was the year they were building up to.
Right.
I think Hugh's in a spot now where you need to win a game. And I think that's why I believe, unless you've got the quarterback of the future on your roster, which I don't believe, I think you got to go Peyton Thorne here. But I do agree with you. If you do go Hank Brown, you really don't worry about the overall outcome of the game. It is about getting him quality reps.
A&M's a nothing game. I guess you still have a chance to make a bowl game.
Yeah.
But you can't lose to Louisiana Monroe. I mean, you can't endure another.
That'd be back-to-back years. Yeah,
New Mexico State and Louisiana Monroe in this type of game at this part of the year. Can't do that. So that's why I go, if Thorne is healthy enough, that's why I go Peyton Thorne. Now, if you win this game, now you're all in on winning A&M because that keeps bowl hope alive.
Well, see, then you can't go young now.
Right.
You're saying the exact opposite of what I'm saying.
That's
is
right.
Outcomes now matter.
But to me, I can't lose another one to a directional school like ULM. And then I got the Iron Bowl at the end. I don't want to get embarrassed. Even if I don't win the game, I don't want to get embarrassed. We almost won the game last year.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the going young thing. I go with the best available quarterback, and that's why you got to go with Peyton Thorne.
You don't necessarily just have to surrender games to go young, but the question then becomes, well, if you had a better option, why has he not already played?
That's right.
It's obvious whoever the young option is not a better option, or he'd be in the game. And that's not just at quarterback. That's at any position right now.
Tennessee, Georgia this weekend. I want you to hear a little coach talk from Josh Heupel, and then I want you to tell me who really has the advantage on the field this weekend, Tennessee or Georgia. Here's Josh Heupel with, it's a big game. So when you're Josh Heupel, big game at Georgia, you don't say anything that's going to rock the boat.
Josh, are you? Some coaches like to treat every single day the exact same no matter what's going on, and some kind of lean into the whole this is a big game thing. And I'm wondering which way you try to be like that, and if you were the same way as a player.
Man, every week you have the opportunity to play the biggest game of the season.
Coach Speak.
It's the only one that's on your schedule.
Coach Speak.
Yep.
We're in the arena.
Yep.
Coaches, players, and you better be in the present. So that's what we focus on, no matter who the opponent is. We understand the quality of the opponent that we're playing this week. Focused on the here and now.
Coach Speak.
Be weird for you.
Was around the game long enough to understand that
anybody can beat you.
What people are talking about in the past or or in the future. Excuse me.
Rat poison.
Man, that's not controlling what you can control, and your preparation and practice matter. And get ready to go play this game Saturday night.
Well, that was the biggest coaching cliche salad I think I've ever heard. He rammed them all together in one answer.
He did not pull a Nate Oates. He needs to hydrate because that's like, you remember waking up with cotton mouth back in the day?
You heard the smacking?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got,
You know what I do like about that guy? Like, I've criticized him before, and he's obviously a good football coach. I mean, I think we'll all agree, right? Josh Heupel can coach football. I've always liked his sideline demeanor. He doesn't get too high, too low. He just seems like a guy that's always in control of his emotion on the sidelines, which I think feeds down to your players when you do that. I mean, sometimes you got to go off on a ref, right? You're trying to make the point that you got screwed in hopes you're getting the next call. Especially if it's on your sidelines, you get screwed.
Your mouth is dry now, too.
No, I'm drinking
I know, but you went.
I've got to swallow it at some point.
Pause for a second.
Got to swallow. I'm drinking a tasty Diet Coke, Jim.
Yeah, me too.
Refreshing, no sugar, no calories.
Yeah, product placement.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hypo needs to get on it.
My whole life's a commercial.
Yeah.
I've always liked his sideline demeanor. That's one thing that stands out to me about that guy.
Yeah. All right. So who's got the advantage? Tennessee,
Georgia's got the advantage.
So you just asked Roman Harper.
But they're
they
not very
can't
good.
run it.
No.
They can't block.
No, but they've got the advantage.
They can't do this. They can't do that.
They've got the advantage of Tennessee's quarterback, whether he plays or not, is banged up. You're not going to deny that Nico's banged up. He couldn't play the second half last week.
They didn't need him to play the second half.
Tennessee has only scored 30 points in one SEC game. Their offense isn't good enough to beat this Georgia defense on the road.
That's it. They're playing at home. Georgia is, Kirby, I tweeted this last night. Kirby has spent 2 years telling his team, nobody believes in you. He literally can say it now. They're not in the playoff rankings. He literally can say, nobody thinks you can make the playoffs. Guys, they don't even have you in the playoffs. He can say it, and it's true for a change. He will have this team. I don't think Georgia's great. I think with respect to previous Georgia teams that are Kirby Smart, this is fairly average. But they're going to be good enough to win this game Saturday night.
Yeah, and they're getting into a college football playoff.
They are, correct. And I think Tennessee will too, frankly. I
think so.
Somebody's going to get left out.
Rivalry weekend is going to be insane. I have said it before the season started. One of those games in Nashville, a Vanderbilt team that beat Alabama and took Texas down to an onside kick. They can definitely beat Tennessee in Nashville.
All right. We cleaned up some dead wood on the other side when it comes to the water bottle to the face of a BYU cheerleader and coach. Also, we clear up a court order about Diego Pavia's lawsuit against the NCAA, and one of the amazing, ballsy high school coaching moves from our state ever. All that still to come right before trash. Coming up on the other side, show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services LT.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt. Presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag on The Next Round. Cut number 6, Tyler, as we get ready for another big night of basketball down on the Plains. They expect their 57th consecutive sellout tonight down there at Nebel as they play host to Kent State. This hour of the show brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. This soundbite from Bruce Pearl brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Yeah, sometimes you have to just fight and work hard to get the best lunch you can. Not when it comes to Champy's. It's real easy. Just go to Highway 119 in Alabaster. You get down there and you just walk in and look at the extensive menu and choose what you want. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Bruce Pearl, for the first time, addressing in a roundabout way what happened on the plane on the way to Houston. And then his team goes out and gets a signature win against the Cougars that has Auburn now number 1 in the KenPom, already with probably the best win in the country in their back pocket. Here's Bruce Pearl.
So you win one game, and all of a sudden I need more chairs in here, because that's really all it was one game. It was a great win over Houston, historic, based on the rankings of the teams, and gives us a barometer of where we are right now. But it's a long season. We got a lot to work on. For us, it's going to be, can we play that with the same energy, sense of urgency, if you will? Because look, if you didn't put yourself in the right place at the right time against Houston and you were late, they're going to make you pay. And of course, that's what you have to do to survive an opponent like that. But we'd like to play that way every night.
Yeah. Now he'll address the players who were reportedly maybe involved in that fight on the plane in a second, but I'll tell you, he talked about historics. The win over Houston, the highest ranked non-conference win in Auburn basketball history. The highest ranked non-conference win. They've beaten number 1s and number 2s in the SEC before, but to beat that Houston team in a non-conference regular season game, it was historic.
Do you remember UNLV coming to Beard Eves that year? Were they number 1 then, I think?
Yeah, I think it was 87.
Yeah, 87, I think, UNLV. I mean, it's kind of
Armin Gilliam.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get matched up with the number 1 because once you get to the NCAA tournament, that doesn't really matter, right?
That's
It's just hard to do it in the regular season.
We talk about Alabama's out of conference coming up 5 of their next 6 against ranked opponents. The one that is not ranked plays tonight in Illinois. But when you look at Auburn's schedule, they've got 4 top 25s coming up before Christmas in Iowa State, Duke, Ohio State, and Purdue.
Yep.
And they go to Maui here in a second, too. So you can play even more games than you see on your schedule with Auburn. Both of those schedules are unbelievable. So what about the status of Ja'Kai Howard and Jaheim Hudson? Here's Bruce Pearl.
Hey, Bruce, do you have any update on the status of Jaheim and Ja'Kai, going forward and whether or not they'll be available tomorrow?
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate situation with dealing with it head on. Those guys were in class and practice on Monday.
That's a short update, Coach. Thank you. They went to class and practiced, so they're still on the team and still in class.
Still students.
Still students.
Yeah.
That's what I could gather from that.
But I know you guys heard it too. If they don't have that altercation on the plane, they don't turn the plane around, they don't leave two people behind, get on the plane and go out there, at least one of those guys, if not both of those guys, work into the rotation. And that means some of the guys who played in the game aren't on the floor for at least a few minutes. If that altercation doesn't happen, I don't know if they beat you.
Yeah, butterfly effect, but I do think Auburn is the better team. But you're right. You never know.
No, I remember I talked to Little T Friday night.
It's a deep team, and if this thing doesn't happen, then those guys are getting a few minutes, and you that may be a few minutes that Dylan Cardwell doesn't get or that Chaney Johnson doesn't get. It's weird how life works sometimes. It comes at you fast.
It is, and Little T was like, oh, God, they've got this huge game, and now they've got this hanging over. I was like, if anything, I like them more now, Little T. She said, what are you talking about? They just had to turn the plane around and land it. I'm like, yeah, but
you put dogs on a plane.
You put dogs on a plane, what's going to happen? People wanted us to do a T-shirt.
Yeah,
on
where's
that.
the dogs on the plane T-shirt?
Put dogs on a plane, what do you think's going to happen?
All right, Trash Time brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Every day on the show, Tyler spins that wheel. So many trash opens. Which one will he hit today? Let's look in and find out.
Vision Cable. Hi, watch me beat Peter McNeely on Vision Cable Vision.
Great.
Okay, now Comcast Cable. Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Watch me beat Peter McNeely on Comcast Cable Vision.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
And we love our partnership with the mortgage experts, Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way, no cost or obligation. To see what you qualify for, 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. I just got this one sent to me. A Blue Origin employee.
Blue Origin?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Jeff Bezos, one of his companies.
Oh, okay, gotcha now.
Married to a prominent trans author, has been accused of killing her elderly father with an ice axe on election night.
Well, there's a lot in that headline there.
Yeah,
How much of it is true?
I don't know.
How many things are wrong with this
really.
story? Corey Burke, 33, allegedly struck, stabbed, and strangled her father, 67-year-old Timothy Burke, in a fatal attack at her $800,000 Seattle home on November 5th. Burke, a training manager at Jeff Bezos' rockets and spacecraft company, confessed to killing her father after he refused to turn off the lights, according to charging documents. Now, after emerging from the house with blood, quote, dripping from her face, she confessed to police that she had freaked out, claiming there was something important about Election Day. Burke reportedly told detectives that she knew that she could not convince her father to keep the lights off, so went upstairs, retrieved the murder weapon. She then tripped her father, strangled him before attacking him with the ice axe. I don't know what an ice axe is. I guess it's one of those things when you watch a documentary like Everest.
Yeah, they just climb up the mountain.
I don't know why you would have one of those. I guess Seattle might have some icing, right?
Well, maybe. I don't think you're going to need an ice axe.
Burke then bit him, hit him several times in the head and the side with the blunt, sharp ends of the ice axe. His body was found in the basement. Yeah. So there you go.
I mean,
she said, quote, the killing needed to happen today.
I do hate it when I lay down and my head hits the pillow and I look and I forgot to turn off the living room light. Do you guys always get back up and go turn it off?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel bad because the way I've got the crate set up, it's really a cool, it's basically a crate condos for Bullet and Chili. Happy birthday, Chili, yesterday. Really not sure how old she is. I think she's 3. But like, I feel like I've got to go in there because I don't want them to have a light on when they're on.
Yeah.
I know you worry about young Charlie like that.
Yeah, young Charlie's not fazed by that. I just don't want to leave the light on. I don't know why. I mean, how much is that adding to my power bill, really? What do you think?
A couple bucks,
$1.50?
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. But boy, I get up out of bed and go turn it off.
You guys are familiar with Armie Hammer, right?
Armie Hammer.
The grandson to the billionaire.
Yeah, what was
Armie Hammer?
Yeah.
What was the documentary he was in? He did something.
A cannibal. It was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Really fascinating. Did you watch it, Tyler?
I did not watch it.
Yeah, he's got some issues.
He's just a weird guy who wants attention.
Really, the cannibal was a weird guy?
Yeah, I say we just leave him alone.
Okay.
All right. Well, you're the one that gave me the story, so you mean leave it alone, you may roll with it.
Even after the cannibal story, this story was just so weird I had to
It is. Armie Hammer got a vasectomy for his 38th birthday, courtesy...
That's a win for the world, by the way.
...of his own mother.
Oh.
On Monday, November 11th, the actor 38 was joined by his mom, Drew Hammer, on an episode of the Armie Hammer Time podcast. In part 2 of the mother-son interview, Drew suggests, quote, let's talk about what I gave you for your birthday this year. She continues to explain, I call Army and go, Army, what would you like for your birthday this year? Army says, I don't know, maybe money, whatever. And I was like, I believe I'm going to give you a vasectomy. Army then chimes into detail his experience at the doctor's office. Quote, I got to the doctor's office and I go, here to schedule a vasectomy. Hammer recalls adding that he was asked to fill out various paperwork and consult with a doctor. He was like, are you sure you want to do this? I have 2 beautiful kids. I don't want any more kids. He told him, I'm good to go. They try to talk you out of it. He said, you're not going to talk me out of it. I'm good. I'm done. Following the consultation, Army was asked to pay for the procedure, and citing a very awkward interaction with the receptionist. When asked if he would be paying through insurance or a credit card, Army told the woman, quote, mother's going to be calling you and she's going to be paying for it. Now, here's the thing. Check with your insurance provider. If you go see our friends, UCA, where I got my vasectomy done, insurance paid for the entire procedure.
That's a win.
So I don't know about Drew Hammer here.
So his name is Army?
Yeah.
He
played the what are the Von Fossel twins or whatever in Social Network?
Yes, the Von Winkle?
Von Winkle, something like that. The crypto kids, the Bitcoin guys.
Winklevoss. Hey, so a couple things here. Is that the mom?
Yes.
Yes.
Has she by chance had plastic surgery?
No.
No, you think that's natural?
I assume so.
Okay. Number 2.
I mean, if you put a Cowboys hat on her and put her in the box Sunday, would you think she's Jerry Jones?
She's complaining about that. I don't know why we don't get better quarterback play. Do you? That's the brother? That's not Army?
No, that's Army.
That's Army.
So he's out of jail. The cannibal's out of jail.
He never went to jail.
Well, he never went to jail.
But he's a cannibal.
He never
admitted
caught eating anybody.
Yeah, he just said he wanted to eat these
like,
girls.
I would like to eat someone.
And there's a chance, like if there's a missing hiker somewhere in Europe, I don't know, I'm just saying, he never admitted to eating anybody. He just had a lot of text and a lot of voice recordings talking about, I would love to eat you, tie you up, do really weird things, and eat you.
Are we keeping an eye on this guy?
Somebody should.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's wearing flip-flops with jeans. I mean, that's a problem in itself.
That is so low down the problem levels for him, though, Lance.
I don't know, it probably is about on par with cannibalism to EG.
What, flip-flops with jeans? Yeah, EG would put him on the same level.
You're not on the boat.
EG would think this is worse. Impersonating a cop is a big no-no. Then we have
impersonating a cop?
Yeah, impersonating a cop.
We had a youth
pastor do it, right?
Yeah, it was that old cat. What's his name?
The basement guy?
Yeah. Hang on, I'll say his name in a minute. That old boy was...
You'll think
he was
of
in a trash open.
Anyway, one man in Florida found this out the hard way after he flashed the fake police lights in his unmarked Dodge Charger at an intersection in order just to run the light. Now, we see cops do that. They'll flash it. They'll run through the light. Everybody's like, damn, must be nice to be a cop running the light. But Frank DiGiulio Jr. was driving his black Dodge Charger when he approached the intersection of a light that had turned red. DiGiulio proceeded to do what I'm sure we've seen a lot of cops do when they just didn't want to wait for the light to turn. He activated his lights as a way to say, hey, look out, I'm about to run this light. The problem is, didn't realize there was a cop between him and his Charger. That's when he was pulled over. He first denied having acted like a cop, and then he finally admitted to it. And that's when he was charged with prohibited use of lights and false impersonation. This, in addition to a ticket for running the light.
Matt Pitt. Thank you, everyone, in the MyBookie.ag chat room. Matt Pitt.
Here was even worse for him. When they actually towed the Dodge Charger, it's owned by his girlfriend.
So, but she didn't have the police lights. He did.
Yeah. So he's actually borrowing her car to act like he's a cop.
What's your take? What's your stance on undercover police officers? Or not undercover, unmarked cars pulling you over for speeding?
I mean, I think it's a little. I would call it cheating to a degree.
It's dicey. I just don't think it ought to be allowed.
But we do need to have unmarked cars, but not necessarily to pull you over.
Yeah, I don't think they ought to be able to do traffic stops, unmarked cars.
Yeah, I would. I don't know how you guys coached your daughters up. I always told them if it was not a legit police car,
don't pull over.
To drive safely to a very crowded place, pull in there, and then pull over and explain to the police officer why you drove at a safe speed to the next crowded place.
Drop it down to the speed limit. Go to a convenience store somewhere like that, and if there's a police officer that has an issue with you doing that, that's going to be on the police officer, not on you.
That's right.
That'll get handled.
That's right. We'll handle that in the class action lawsuit or the big lawsuit afterwards.
We've got a newly opened playground in a town in Australia has proved to be a hazard for elderly people, with some locals falling into hard-to-see trampolines that are built into the ground. Now, here's a picture that Tyler has pulled for us. Trampolines are so difficult to spot that an elderly man drove straight into one in his mobility scooter, becoming wedged before passersby were able to get him out. The $1.8 million playground in the Sydney suburb of Cronulla has been plagued with safety issues since it opened late last year. A little boy fell through the springs of one of the 2 ground-level trampolines, almost up to his knees. Elderly lady who fell into one of the trampolines suffered bruises to her face, a broken nose, and a loss of taste and smell. When the local council covered up the trampolines with metal grids last month, they became so hot in the southern hemisphere summer temperatures that kids suffered burns to their bare legs. One mom went on to say, quote, "You could fry an egg on those metal plates."
So these were a bad idea is what we're...
Yeah.
So it's just like trampolines cut into the ground.
Yep, they're absolutely flush with the ground.
Yeah. So you can't really tell they're there.
You can't tell they're there, and so people are tripping into them.
Yeah, but it's like you're playing a video game. You just walk in a normal sidewalk, and you can do a little bounce down the sidewalk a little bit faster.
Like a Mario.
But wouldn't you be scared if you land outside of the circumference of the trampoline that you blow a knee, you break an ankle?
Yeah. Oh, these can't be like bounce you way up in the air trampolines.
I wouldn't think so.
What's the point of it?
I don't know what the point is, A, and then B, to your point, if you land on that solid surface after bouncing on a trampoline, like, did you ever bounce anybody off a trampoline back in the day?
I was never a big trampoline guy.
Were you not?
I never understood it much either, but I would always have the guy who would try, while we're all bouncing up and down, he'd try to stop it so it'd shatter our legs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to do the double bounce where the guy bounces at the same time as you and throws you up.
Yeah, higher.
Yeah, throws you higher. But you can screw your leg up like that.
But then all of a sudden he does these where it stops and you come down.
Yeah.
So I've been in the current house for 12 years, and when we first bought it, it had a trampoline on the side lot. And first thing I did.
I got a trampoline in the backyard. It's actually got more use. When we bought it, I was like...
it'll never get used.
It'll never get used. And I will have to say it has gotten far more use than I ever imagined.
Really good for tanning and stargazing.
I guess. Well, I mean, when you leave the gate open so that the neighborhood kids can jump on it at any time, that does help.
Now, what happens if a neighborhood kid ends up getting hurt?
That's going to be on their dad.
That's when the umbrella policy you've got for coverage.
We do have one of those, yeah.
Finally, Lincoln Transportation and Utilities announced the Name That Snowplow contest on Monday.
Right.
Community members may submit snowplow names through late November, vote for their favorites through early January 2025. The winning names will appear on 8 city snowplows. Now, this is the second year of a 3-year run for Name That Snowplow. I think we did this last year. Now, in 2023, the community submitted more than 1,700 names. Snowfighters reviewed the name submissions and selected the final 25 names for consideration. Community then voted on their top 8 names. Names selected in 2023 were Clear Up Pathra, Scoop Dog, Plowy McPlowface.
No, I never liked that one.
Darth Blader.
That's not bad.
Austin Plowers.
Scoop Dog is my favorite so far.
Truck Norris.
That's not bad.
Anti-Snowshul. And Snow Big Red.
Oh, because it's in Nebraska? Not a lot of great options. I think I'd go Scoop Dog. I'm with Dunaway. I think that might, and then Truck Norris would be my second.
CU's right. If I was driving, it could be Jim Plowaway.
That is correct. Yes, that works.
Was not my nickname in college, by the way. Death Blader. I like that. Yep. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, the mortgage experts. Look, no cost or obligation to see exactly what you qualify for, whether you're buying your first home or your final home. Go check it out, mortgageright.com, 205-900-7200, and tell them the Next Round sent you.
All right, quick check of some point spreads. By the way, in that scenario we talked about earlier where LSU would be playing in the SEC championship game, it won't happen if they lose to Florida. Maybe a smaller than imagined point spread in Gainesville. LSU only a 4.5-point favorite at Florida, as both those teams are coming off somewhat embarrassing losses, to be honest with you. Auburn's still a 24-point favorite as they play against Louisiana Monroe. Another game of interest in the ACC because Clemson now is back alive with that Miami loss for the conference championship game. And they play at Pitt. Clemson a 10-point favorite at Pitt. So keep an eye on that one. You can play all those games and play any game at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. When you use code NEXTROUND at mybookie.ag, they take your initial deposit and they double it for you. That's your bonus with code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag, code next round.
Diego Pavia's lawsuit and restraining order did not get immediate reaction from a judge. No need to speed the trial up. He's saying if he doesn't have his freedom to pursue another year for the portal, which opens December 9th, he'll suffer irreparable harm. The judge denied him that, saying that you knew the junior college NCAA rules when you signed on to go to junior college and then to the NCAA. There is no rush to judgment here. They're going to let it play out. His case is still alive, but he was trying to get it fast-tracked so he would be able to hit the portal on December 9th, which I'm sure makes Vandy feel fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, this whole thing's a bad look because by doing it right now, you're taking away from a magical season that your team is having, but at the same time, you're telling them, thanks for the trip from Las Cruces to Nashville, but I want to go elsewhere.
You can re-sign me, but you're going to have to outbid these other guys.
Yeah, but I'm guessing an attorney said, here's your best shot. Your best shot is to convince them that because this transfer portal window opens in December, you need a quick decision. I don't know that it necessarily means he would bail Nashville. It might. But I could also see it where his attorney is like, this is our best shot is to play this card.
I just think it is really it's taken a lot of shine off the good that not only he has done, but Vanderbilt has done. And especially when you do a flex like that in season and then you turn around and get walked off the field.
And you 100% called it Saturday morning. Yep. You're like, here comes Diego Pavia's worst Saturday.
And
you keep –
and he had it.
If they stack loss on loss down the stretch here,
and that's going to be the problem. They're going to be like, you know what? They lost 4 of their final 5 games. They lost 3 in a row after this announcement came down.
Well, they're at LSU and host Tennessee. They're next 2. They got a bye this week. So, I mean, a 6-6 is quite like – it's so funny how we're going to – talk about that being disappointing. If you'd given Vandy 6-6 in the preseason, you'd have said, "Oh God, Clark Lee's coach of the year."
Yeah, 4 wins better than you thought they would be.
If he closes the deal though and beats LSU and Tennessee 8-4, is he the national coach of the year?
Could be.
Even if Dion got Colorado.
No, Dion over Colorado. You got Coach Sig at Indiana. Not even close, actually.
God, I don't know. That would be at that point.
Think about what Coach Sig and Dion are potentially doing.
No,
especially Sig.
I get it, but that would be 3 top 25 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be hard to overlook that at Vanderbilt. I agree.
Yeah. And one other update from yesterday: Utah police have actually arrested 18-year-old William Gardner. According to reports, he is allegedly the guy who threw the full water bottle at the BYU cheerleader coach in the face. You saw her get hit right there and go down to the ground. The person in the video even pointing out there that's where the bottle just went. They say they have video evidence of William Gardner throwing the bottle and crashing into her face there. It's a misdemeanor charge, by the way.
Well, it feels like it should be more than that.
It does. Now we'll see what happens to if there's a lawsuit financially from the cheerleading coach.
I mean, that's the thing. Is she hurt? If not, I think the public embarrassment of this, and you pop him with something, 100 hours community service, whatever it is, you pop him with a fine. You don't want to ruin the kid's life for a stupid-ass mistake like this. But if she's hurt, then, I think there is civil probably that comes down.
Yeah, I mean, when I said it feels like it should be more, that'd be a felony. I don't know that we need to go felonious. But
one more thing after LT tells you about our friends at Inverness Country Club.
Yeah, look, just a great place to go. We did a show about a month ago from the Inverness Country Club. And look, they've got memberships that fit absolutely everyone. Find your sense of community at Inverness Country Club to take a tour of this unbelievable club. Call Erin. Tell her the next round sent you, 205-991-8608. From the social membership to the sports membership. Maybe you relocated or retired. Inverness, great place to network. Childcare is also a massive plus. You and your wife want to have dinner with friends, knowing your kid is on site. Safe on site, massive plus. Again, for more information, 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
I believe Kyle Parmalee and his team are doing some of the reporting on the Opelika football coach. They play Hoover this week in the state playoffs. Those two teams in their first round games were not on the same night. So after Opelika played, the coach was able to go to the Hoover game. Brian Moore is his name. Is that correct?
So it was Hoover's game that got bumped up to Thursday night.
Okay. So that allowed the Opelika football coach to attend the game, which is okay. You can go sit in the stands, correct?
Have you seen this, Brown?
Yeah, I've seen it.
This is amazing.
But this is the football coach on the sidelines of the Hoover game using an AHSAA field credential, usually reserved for the media. He's on the Fairhope sidelines, staring across at the Hoover bench. Very Connor Stallions-esque there.
You're just looking for signs at that point.
Yep. Suspended now for the game coming up this weekend.
He should be.
He's. I don't know
if not for the rest of the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, this is just stupid.
And stupidity more so.
Yeah, there you see the statement there.
I mean, there is nothing stealth about this at all.
Not one bit.
He recognizes this was an error in judgment and accepts the suspension. If he just goes to the stands, he can sit there and take all the notes he wants.
And wear a hat, man. That is a shiny head. If you are a bald dude, I mean, you're going to jump out a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Dunaway. Just sit in the stands. You probably go completely unnoticed there, and you can still see the opposing signs from the stands.
If he's just 5 feet back on the other side of the fence leaning in, he can do whatever he wants to do.
I know. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Opelika by 100, though.
Oh, they beat Hoover.
I'm going to call the upset.
I don't know who's favored.
Me either. Get Spigs on the phone. Opelika over Hoover. Upset. We'll see.
I did my picks last week.
You did. They went over very well. Everyone at 33-40 got a hoot out of it. I meant to tell you that, yeah.
That is our show today. Don't forget, Bama and Bourbon is up, a new one from Aaron Suttles. As LT described it, a not get injured, not get hurt game coming up this weekend with Mercer. All the content at Cover Crimson, covercrimson.com, and thebarnauburn.com. Basketball reaction tonight over there as well, thebarnauburn.com, for that 7 o'clock tip at Neville. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.